Hey, you want to take a picture by the car?
No, thank you. Who you talking to? Cause I know it ain't me. You tried it. Girl. Oh, no, ma'am. No, sir. He's acting like we work for him. He ain't my boss. Oh, mama don't even tell me what to do anymore. Since I've been 15 years old, I've been paying my own bills and doing my own taxes. So you need to relax.
I don't work for you. You seem to be very confused. You not the boss of me. You seem to be very confused. If you think that you gon' tell me what to do, 'cause you're not. Oh baby boy, you must be so very confused. Everybody's freaking out 'cause something's wrong with you. And there is something very wrong with you. Something wrong with you. There is something very wrong with you.
Fast like lightning, harder than a hurricane. I bring the thunder, I'm dancing in the pouring rain. If you try to fight me, dishonor on your family name. Ooh, I think they like me, world will never be the same. IQ billion, patience zero. Did you ever meet a modern day hero? Hold up, wait, whoa, put the flavor on it. Why you frontin' on me, boy? I'm your daddy favorite.
Little bad boy, look at you now. King for a day, you are wearing the crown. King for a day, you are wearing the crown. You really might have made your daddy proud. You really might have made your daddy proud. Y'all never thought he would come back around. You never thought he would. Here it is though, having a puff, blowing it now, building it up, just burning all down. Always a game, totally shameless. Pawns all fall down. Coming back for you. Coming back to you. I wrote this song in A minor. Get it? 'Cause tricks aren't for kids. Now bad boy, what you gon' do? Now bad boy, what you gon' do? Feds all out here looking for you. They looking for you, and they all fall. Huffing, they puffing, they blew it all now. Built it up to burn it down. And playing a game that you never could win. Pawns all fall down. Promise you broke every lie that you spoke. Coming back for you. Time that you prayed, every move that you made. Coming back to you. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Nothing you can do about it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Nothing you can do about it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Hello. Can you hear me now? Good. Good morning, everybody. I am under the weather. I think I'm just going to get that out of the way. I think you're going to be able to tell. I might have been on the floor in this very office just moments ago. I might have been doing other things just moments ago that I'll spare you the details. I'm not feeling well. Thank you for being here. So the Diddy trial today is, oh, hold on. Ting. Oh, wait, my other thing. Where's my little, oh, did I take that off? Do I not do this anymore? Maybe I took that off. I don't know. Y'all, you know how when you're kind of like sick or whatever and you feel like your brain is all fogged up? That's me. Okay. So I just can't be held responsible for anything I say today, but I'm still here. Nowhere else I'd rather be than right here. Here we are. Okay. So let's go to Inner City Press. Shout out to Inner City Press. I do have his channel linked in the description. Yeah, no, I might be, girl. It might be the flu because I never got a flu shot in my life. Not even one ever. So it could be. But I'm here. I'm good. I'm feeling okay. You know, it could always be worse. Please. I just wanted to get out of the way because I do sound congested and I like realize like I don't sound great. I'm probably gonna be like coughing and stuff. So I just want to get out of the way. Yes, I am under the weather. I am in my house. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. So it's been actually kind of a fun, challenging challenge to get back in this mindset of like, you know, when you work for yourself, when you like work for the Lord, but like, you know, like self-employed or whatever, you can kind of like sometimes take a sick day, sometimes obviously not, but like I haven't been able to do that. If court is in session, I have to be here. And my like I set that goal for myself. No, I don't work for nobody. Nobody's making me do it. So it's kind of reminding me of like, you know, being in school or like having a job, a real job. People tell me to get a real job all the time. I don't want to. I say no. Why would I want to work for someone? That sounds like something I don't want to go back to doing. But I mean, you know, I understand why I had to in my past, but used to be if you would get sick, you just have to keep going to work. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's how like everybody else has to be. So I'm here, you know, don't feel bad for me. I'm no different than you. Here we are. Okay, here's Inner City Press. Let me pull this up. I got it up. Okay. Okay, we have something 6 minutes ago, but I want to get to the top. Okay, here we go. Oh, hold on. Okay, obviously some glitching is happening. I rebuke. Oh, unstable internet connection, it's saying. Huh. Isn't that exciting? Okay, I'm doing my best. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going. I'm going to do my best. Okay, this is doing my best day. All right. Okay, US versus Sean Combs, day 11 with, okay, who we're going to be hearing from today. Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Fire Department, and this is going to be in connection to that Kid Cudi fire with his car and all that. Okay, so I'm going to say this term one time and define it here, kind of like in a legal document, because I don't want to get my videos restricted or anything like that. Okay, so this is I'm going to say this and then I'm going to tell you all the code words. Sometimes I just use the code words and like people are like, what are you talking about? Okay, so they're calling it, this is the one time I'm going to say it, a Molotov cocktail. This is what it's being referred to in the news. This is what it's being referred to in the court documents. Okay, but if you say this certain things too many times, inexplicably, you trigger something and your videos get restricted. Okay, so that is why we have to say things like, for example, the code word for that one is going to be boom, boom. Okay, when I say boom, boom, I'm talking about the MC. I just said it. Okay, I don't want to say the word a bunch of times like I just said. Okay, so this whole day, it seems to be, well, excuse me, not this whole day. The first two. So maybe a half day. I do think this is going to end up lasting for a full day. But the LAPD and the LA Fire Department are going to send forward some witnesses to testify, like investigators. So the LA Fire Department is sending forward a fire fighter, I guess, but he's not like actively firefighting, I guess. He's like a investigator. So like if there's an arson or if there's a suspected arson, if a house burns down, maybe he is the one that goes in, determines the cause of the fire and stuff. Like he goes out there and does the investigation for that. So he is going to be testifying. Now, it was already argued about that on Diddy's side and his lawyers that this LA Fire Department investigator should not be allowed to answer questions, or rather, Diddy's lawyers have no. Hold on, Diddy's lawyers. Okay, right. Diddy's lawyers have noted that on this boom boom device that got thrown into Kid Cudi's car, Diddy's lawyers have noted that there was a partial DNA profile that was able to be recovered from it. They ran a DNA thing on the boom boom, and come to find out, it was somehow, they couldn't figure out exactly who the DNA is for. But they could tell certain characteristics. One of the characteristics they could tell is that the DNA was female. So Diddy's lawyers were trying to bring that up during Kid Cudi's testimony. They were trying to say, isn't it true, Miss Cudi, that there was female DNA found on the boom boom or whatever? And Kid Cudi had no idea what he was talking about. Okay, he was like, no, I don't know. He was like, I don't know. I didn't do that investigation. No one ever contacted me back. So they have gone back and forth, Diddy's side and the government or the feds or whatever, on whether or not this LA Fire Department guy should be allowed to be asked about the DNA. The government says no, because this guy has no expertise. He has no full write-up of the DNA stuff. Like the actual evidence he would be reading is just some random like notes. It's not the actual full DNA printout. They weren't even able to determine a full DNA profile. Like they have all these arguments, right? The government does. So they're like, this should stay out, at least with respect to this fire department guy. The LA Fire Department guy, he should have to not be able to be asked about the DNA. Okay, so the other people that are going to be testifying supposedly today, I mean, I'm not getting my hopes up. I think that the LAPD and the LA Fire Department, there's no way that those two witnesses don't take at least the first entire half of the day. But I am really thinking it's going to go, we're going to take lunch today. When we take lunch today, this is my prediction. And I could be wrong. My prediction is when we take lunch today, the testimony from the police and the fire department guy are not going to be over yet. Now, the only possible exception to that prediction is if those two aren't the ones that get called first. If they wait till last to get them, then we'll have to see. Now, the other people that are going to be testifying today are Mia and Deonte, I think is his first name. I saw that somewhere. I think his name's Deonte. Nash. Okay, so Mia is not this person's real name, everybody. Mia is a pseudonym. Now, they did go back and forth for, I mean, it felt like months, maybe just weeks, but it did feel like months, on whether or not they were going to, the judge was going to allow the prosecutors to refer to this supposed alleged victim as Mia, or it wasn't being proposed as Mia at the time publicly. It was just saying, like, let her use a name that's not hers. Like, let her use a pseudonym. Mia is a pseudonym. So this is victim, not victim 3, obviously not victim 1, because that was Cassie. So this would have to be victim 2 or victim 4. Victim 4 was a former employee. So this may be victim 4. Let's see. Also, Deonte Nash. I did a like ever so brief Google search on Deonte Nash. I'm obviously not feeling the best, so I just didn't do a whole bunch of research, but it does appear that Deonte Nash is a celebrity stylist. So just put a pin in that one. I didn't do much research on this. This could be somebody completely different. I just looked it up, and like a few things came up on Google with like Deonte Nash, like standing with Cassie. Deonte Nash standing with somebody else. He's like a stylist. So maybe that's him. I don't really know. We'll see. So 18 minutes ago, before the jury is brought in, the judge says, hold on, let's address an issue first.
This is so annoying. This Diddy's lawyer, Xavier Donaldson, but also at the same time, like, I'll read it to y'all. I do see both sides kind of, but okay, so the judge said, let's address this. All the government is saying is that the message shows Cassie's state of mind. Okay. Okay. And then Xavier Donald, so they're trying to get a piece of evidence in. The government. Hold on. Nash quoted. He's making me. I want to make sure I got the sides right. I want to make sure I'm not telling y'all the wrong sides and then confuse everything. And then we're going to have to go back and redo. Hold on. Okay. Okay, doing the best I can here. It's difficult to keep this. It's difficult to get into which side wants which thing. I'm going to do the best I can. Okay. So here comes Diddy's lawyer saying, let's start from the beginning again. Okay. So there's a piece of evidence that the government wants in, right? Or maybe the government wants to keep out. I believe this is the case that the government wants this particular piece of evidence in. What is the evidence? You might be wondering. Okay. Yes. Good question. The evidence is seemingly a series of text messages, some text message exchange, right? But all I can really go on for sure is like the stuff I kind of remember, which I told y'all at the beginning of this video. I'm a little foggy in the mind today, so I'm doing my best to take it with a grain of salt with that disclaimer. But from what I remember, they are arguing over whether or not to get these series of text messages in. Now, of course, Diddy's team wants a mistrial. Okay, if they can get a mistrial, that would be great for them. So they have tried to get the judge to declare this a mistrial many times in the past, and they're going to continue to do so. So that's kind of what we're seeing them tee up for right here. They're trying now to maneuver around Cassie being pregnant and saying that the fact that they can't like continue to recall Cassie up over and over and over and over on onto the stand, they're saying, well, she's pregnant, so she can't do it. But if this was a normal situation, she would be able to come back. So we should get a mistrial because she's the star witness and we need her. You know, they're kind of starting to tee up for these types of arguments. And for all I know, I mean, maybe they already have made these arguments in the filings. I haven't checked in the last day or so. But the judge is like, okay, let's address this evidence first before the jury comes in. The government is saying that these messages or this particular message shows Cassie's state of mind. And Diddy's lawyer's like, yeah, that's the issue, that we can't call back Cassie. We need to be able to call her back because then we don't have to go by these messages. We can just ask her state of mind. Okay. All Mr. Nash will quote. Okay, so now we're getting a little more context. This is from Inner City Press. Shout out to him. I have his link linked below permanently. It's now in Inner City Press's Twitter link is now in my permanent description box descriptions. Okay, it's permanently down there. If you click on it, it'll take you to his Twitter. And on his Twitter, he has all his links. You can go support him. And I'd highly encourage you to please go do so. Oh, and you start liking these too while I'm doing it, because that lets me know which ones I've already read. Okay, so we're getting a little more context here. Okay, so this is going to be about testimony. This specific piece of evidence that they're trying to get in. Doesn't it kind of sometimes feel like the tree in the hole in the ground? So the specific piece of evidence that they're trying to get in, they're arguing over it. It's a text message. Now we're getting some information in this Inner City Press tweet that this text message evidence is going to come up in Mr. Nash trial section testimony. This is that stylist. He's making me freak off on my birthday. Cassie didn't want to go. Okay, so it's a text message that says something Okay, it's a text message, presumably to this stylist, Mr. Nash. I think his name's Deonte. He's making me freak off on my birthday. The text message must say something along the lines of, he's making me freak off on my birthday. And the assistant U.S. attorney is like, it shows evidence that Cassie didn't want to go. Okay, so this is not being brought in for hearsay, Your Honor. This is, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. But she's saying, Mike, sorry. She's saying, the assistant U.S. attorney, the feds, she's saying this text message shows Cassie's state of mind. Because what does the government have the burden to prove? They have the burden to prove a bunch of stuff, including force, fraud, or coercion. So what is Diddy's defense? Largely that this was all consensual. If something is consensual, it can't be forced. If something is consensual, it can't be coercion. It has to be not that, right? That's Diddy's defense. That's Diddy's defense. So what is the government trying to do? They have to rebut that and really strongly show, again, this is not consensual. Here is a text message that she sent to yet another person. He's making me freak off on my birthday. This text message, according to the federal prosecutors, proves Cassie's state of mind, which proves force, fraud, coercion. Not fraud, but like it's if you prove fraud, that would satisfy that same category as coercion. Do you understand? I don't know why I say that, because I ain't about to stop the class for it. Woo. Okay, so then let's go to the next text message. The judge says, oh, wait, excuse me. There's more. Alexandra Shapiro, Diddy's lawyer, actually brings back a fair point, right? She says a spouse might say, somebody's wife, somebody's husband, whatever, might say, he's making me go to the Rangers game. He's making me go to the Saints game on my birthday. Right? Like he's not really like making you. It's just kind of like, oh, he's like, he really wants it or whatever, right? Like he's making me go to the Eagles game on my birthday. Ugh, can you believe? Like it could be sarcasm. It could be exaggeration. It could just be a statement that's not meant to be taken literally. So this is Alexandra Shapiro's job, which is what? Create a reasonable doubt. They have to create a reasonable doubt on all this stuff, because overall they need a reasonable doubt from the jury that Diddy committed these crimes. So she's saying, yeah, just because there's a text message that says he's making me go somewhere doesn't mean he actually was making her. And Xavier Donaldson is coming back, circling back around and saying, and that's why we need to be able to get her back on the stand. And the judge goes, you could have cross-examined Cassie about this. Because remember, whenever the cross-examination of Cassie started, the whole first part of the day, from the morning, from when they started all the way to lunch, all the way to the lunch break, was just these kind of irrelevant or just like totally repetitive, unnecessary questions from Diddy's side. And the judge even issued like warnings and stuff to Diddy's lawyers. Like, y'all need to get this show on the road, because I'm not letting you drag this out. There was all this talk about a mistrial during that. If she goes into labor before we're done, but meanwhile, they're dragging it out. I mean, it is like Guantanamo level torture, what they are doing on the stand to this woman. She was 8.5 months pregnant, whatever. She just went into labor yesterday. I mean, I'm sure she's had the baby by now. That'll be the longest labor in history or something. But Diddy's lawyers are saying, we don't know that this actually speaks to Cassie's state of mind, because she could just be saying like, oh, he made me go to the Rangers game. I'd rather not tonight. The judge said you could have asked her these questions already. Why you need to get her back? The judge says, every single day I'm getting these letters. These issues should have been raised in pretrial motions in limine. Note, Intercity Press filed to get these letters into the docket, and now they are going in. Nice. Nice. Okay, then we have the judge saying, let's bring the jury in. All rise, jurors enter. The government calls LA Police Department Officer Christopher Ignacio. Okay, this is one of them Jesuit last names. Ignatius is one of the Jesuit. It was a Hyde Park, y'all. I have a whole web. I gotta start telling y'all about the Cornberry Hyde Park. It's part of the All Roads Leads to Clowns, believe it or not. I think Sprite should sponsor me. This looks so doesn't that make y'all want a Sprite? They should sponsor this video. I drink Sprite when I'm sick. I don't know. Did anybody else grow up like in the South poor and it was like, yeah, it's Sprite when you're sick. Duh, and a popsicle, a rocket popsicle. I don't have one of those. Yes, indeed. Okay, anyway. Okay, so the witness comes onto the stand. Who's the witness? The first person coming up, LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio. Okay, probably Italian last name. Ignacio. Could be Spanish. And yeah. And he comes up. So it's LAPD officer. I don't know why he's up here, so let's find out together. First question out the assistant U.S. attorney's mouth. What is a radio call? Answer. Someone calls 911 and it gets sent to the next available LAPD unit on duty. Okay, so a radio call, what's that? Okay, when someone calls 911, that's the dispatch call or the 911 call. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a radio call. What is a radio call? It's whenever the beep beep. Where is my? It's when you go, oh Lord, hold on. We have an incident. We have an incident at 123 Main Street. There are some squirrels and they are acting up. 10-4, Roger, going over there, over. Or whatever, right? That's the radio call. I just love using my little props anytime I can. So that's what we're talking about. The little go over, go. There's the incident, whatever. Okay. Let's go to the more tweets. Okay. Next question. On December 22nd, 2011, what was your shift? He said 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in a marked police vehicle. So he is just patrolling around in his cop car, 6 in the morning to 6 at night. What do you remember about that day? He said, well, I was at the Dunkin' Donuts and I was eating. No, he didn't say that. I got lost in my imagination. He said, I got a call around 8 o'clock in the morning. Code 3. Let me reenact it. Ignacio. Code 3. Okay. So he got a code 3 with lights and sirens. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what a light and a siren is, but I don't know with lights and sirens, like they tell you got to turn them on. I don't know. He turned them on. I don't know. Maybe we'll get more details from somebody else. To Hollywood Hills Road. What did you find there? I found an Escalade. Okay. What is this about? Is this about Kid Cudi's car? That's what I thought. This is the day. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. An Escalade. 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. He found an Escalade. I memorized the license plate. Why? The cop said, I thought maybe the Escalade could be involved in a crime. The way it left as soon as we got there. Well, why didn't you go after it? The cop said, well, I mean, go after it for what? We didn't have a crime. You can't just chase people down. I mean, that is the right answer, but they do it when they feel like it. But he did memorize the license plate, he says. He said, we didn't have a crime, yet the front door was unlocked. So we went in. What did you see? The officer said, I saw high-end watches and purses. Some were wrapped, some were unwrapped. Then 2 detectives showed up. When we came out, I saw the same black Escalade now driving down the hill. And then what happened? Then Kid Cudi arrived in a Porsche. Okay, so let's just go over that chain of details once more. He said, this is the day, not the day of the car boom boom, okay? This is the day of the break-in. This is the day of the break-in. Alleged break-in. Where Capricorn Clark was sitting outside in the front yard in the driveway or whatever, and she was calling Cassie and telling Cassie, hey, Diddy is inside Kid Cudi's house right now. And Kid Cudi overheard it on speakerphone. And he said, he's in my house, right? This is this day. It's December 22nd, 2011. Now, this same time frame, Kid Cudi would spend the holidays with Cassie's family in Connecticut. So after that, about 2 weeks later, that's when the car boom boom happens. Okay. So his shift was 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. He got a call at 8 in the morning. A code 3 with lights and sirens to Kid Cudi's address. What did you find there? There was an Escalade. I memorized the license plate because I thought it could be involved in a crime. The reason I thought that it could be involved in a crime is the way that it left. As soon as we got there, like it left. So I'm like, I got a call to this house. We got a 911 call over here. And we're here and there's a black Escalade pulling out. So let me just memorize the license plate. He said, we didn't have a crime yet. We didn't see evidence of a crime yet. The front door was unlocked. So we went in and we see these high-end watches and purses. Some of them are wrapped. Some of them are not wrapped. Then 2 detectives show up. So it was like wrapped Christmas presents. And Kid Cudi said this was stuff from Chanel that he had gotten for his family for Christmas. And it's December 22nd. I mean, Christmas Eve is 2 days later. And remember, Cassie said Diddy said he was going to release those SEX tapes of her before Christmas. So Cassie probably, Diddy was like in the process of making those threats and stuff, if they're true, like right at this time, like between those few days period. So this is December 22nd. It's almost Christmas. He gets there to the house and then the Escalade had just left. Then 2 more detectives show up. We walked out the house, the cop says, and I now saw that same exact black Escalade going down the hill. And I know it was the same Escalade because I memorized the license plate number. Then what happened? Then Kid Cudi pulls up in a Porsche. Oh, I gotta like the tweet. All right, let's go to CNN. Is that Capricorn Clark? That's her, everybody. This was her. She's funny. I like that outfit. I'm not sure it's like... It's almost like these people are wearing like Halloween costumes or like Met Gala costumes or whatever. And it's like, the theme this year is court. and Kid Cudi didn't get the memo. He did not dress for court. And another thing about Kid Cudi too, y'all, I went on his Instagram and I saw a post from like May 2nd where he's wearing a suit. So he like literally on purpose did not wear a suit. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's actually kind of funny. Kinda. I do think in some ways, like you probably should like dress for court. Cause here's the thing about court. And I'm not, I only thing about this, I think is a little bit like maybe the midriff shouldn't necessarily be shown in court, but everything else I think is totally fine. Like she looks good. Like in and of itself, the outfit's fine. It's just like going into federal court because this is why, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Court is kind of like the last final frontier to like sort out your problems, right? Like in a civilization, you can't be having duels. That's like kind of like antithetical to like, you need to keep people alive or whatever. This is more like philosophical, right? You can disagree. Some people think that you should just let people have a free for all. But me personally, I'm biased. I do want to live somewhere where you can call the police and they do something. I do. Now, the do something don't need to be unfair and like I definitely think that they should be held to account, much more so. Okay. However, if we don't want to live in a society where we're fist fighting in the gladiator arena to solve our problems, then we have to have somewhere we can go to solve them. And so court, I guess, is our society's way of having done that. And I think like you should kind of in some way respect that as the like institute, like kind of tip your hat to it a little bit, like fine. Because if the court institution then crumbles, like where are we going to go back to how Diddy handled his disagreements with people? Because I don't want to live in that world. I do want the court to function and operate. Now, is the court going to cease to function and operate because somebody's midriff is showing? Absolutely not. No, it's not. Absolutely not. However, I do think, it's just things to think about. I think it's just things to think about. I'm not wearing a suit to court. I don't wear suits no more. I'm done with suits. I'm probably wearing a dress or something. So that's not, I'm not saying that you got to dress a certain way, but like maybe Kid Cudi, like on the one hand, I do understand where he's going with it. I do understand why he did it. It was like a performance art piece. Like Diddy's sitting there with his sweater vest and his khakis, and here's Kid Cudi stretching and yawning with his like off-white t-shirt and his leather jacket. I get it. I do. I get it. I do. Okay, so 3 new updates from CNN. Here's who is expected to testify today. LAPD officer, LA Fire Department investigator, Deonte Nash, and a woman named Mia. Let's go to Washington Post. I'm just seeing how far back I want to go. They have some cool stuff on Washington Post. Y'all might actually want to go read in your free time. They put it up this morning. They have one called Who's Who in Diddy's ST Trial, Witnesses, Lawyers, and More. What we learned investigating dozens of lawsuits against Diddy. So they Samantha Cherry and Janae Kingsbury put together an article based on investigating dozens of those civil lawsuits. So maybe they're doing some compare contrast. Y'all might want to go read that. This isn't sponsored. Take everything with a grain of salt and all that. I don't know any of these people, but I mean, I sit here reading all their work all day and I feel like I'm starting to like know their names and stuff. So it's like, yeah, go read that. We know her. Like, you know what I mean? Okay. So 49 minutes ago, we get one from Ann Brannigan, Washington Post. Did Capricorn Clark's testimony help or hurt Sean Combs? It was revealing in ways that could both help and hurt the government's case. I'm going to spare my voice and not read that whole thing. Let's go 26 minutes ago, because that's not really like a court update. It's more like an analysis. I just want to prioritize the court updates. Wednesday morning's testimony will focus on events of late 2011 and early 2012, which include a break-in at Kid Cudi's Hollywood home and the destruction of his Porsche. So this happened in about a month or 6 weeks or so period of time. Something like that. Like December 22nd is when Diddy finds out they're in the middle of a freak off. This is all based on just this testimony that I've heard. Okay, I wasn't there. I was like, I don't know, working at Power Rands in Baton Rouge or something. So, okay, so Kid Cudi. Okay, so 2011, December 22nd. They're having a freak off. Cassie's there. Diddy's there. This is all based on testimony. Diddy rummages through Cassie's phone. Why does he do that? Well, your guess is as good as mine, but he believed, I guess, he had the authority to do so because it was her bad boy phone. On this phone, he finds emails indicating that Cassie is having relations with someone named Scott. Diddy doesn't know who Scott is, but he probably would know if Cassie was calling him Kid Cudi. So Cassie, Diddy confronts Cassie. They get into an altercation of sorts. Then he goes. Then Diddy leaves. Diddy leaves based on Capricorn Clark's testimony. He goes to Capricorn Clark's house. His pants are whipped wide open in the crotch. They're gray pants, gray slacks, and they're ripped wide open from the knee to the crotch. Drawer showing. And he's banging on the door of Capricorn Clark's apartment. He apparently was able to bypass security, but the security ended up getting fired. Banging on the door, pew pew in hand, according to Capricorn Clark. And Diddy forces her by pew pew point to go to Kid Cudi's house. We're going to go unalive him, he said, according to testimony. Now, that all happens. Capricorn Clark testified about it. Diddy goes into the house, allegedly, with Ruben. Capricorn Clark stays outside, calls Cassie, calls this other lady, Lauren London, to let her know where she is. She said she was scared. Capricorn said she's scared. Nothing never happened to her like that before. So all of that. Nevertheless, Kid Cudi, undeterred, does still go to Connecticut to spend Christmas time with Cassie's family in Connecticut. A couple of weeks, not even 2 full weeks, I don't believe. Yeah, maybe. It was like January something, 2012. A couple weeks later. Maybe 9th. I don't know. That's whenever the boom boom got put in Kid Cudi's car. They cut open the top of his Porsche to put it in there. And apparently there was a partial DNA found off of it. And it was female. Okay. The government is calling a Los Angeles police officer who investigated the break-in. Okay. The police officer investigated the break-in. Yeah, we could have put that together by now based on inner city press's tweets. Which Diddy's alleged to have been involved in this break-in. The fire department investigator, who's going to be the witness today, looked into the subsequent fire boom boom of Kid Cudi's car. Anne Brannigan from Washington Post says the government also wants to question stylist. Yeah, it is a stylist. He is a stylist. Deonte Nash on Wednesday today about a time Cassie, who was one of his clients, told him she was upset that Diddy was making her do a freak off on her birthday. This could be relevant to the government's case that Cassie felt coerced or forced to participate in these S acts. And this is what I had told y'all earlier. The defense team is now objecting to this plan. Diddy's lawyers are like, no. Arguing that the stylist conversation with Cassie wasn't raised when Cassie testified. So they're saying, look, Cassie, the same way the government is saying, the same way the judge earlier on Inner City Press's tweet said to Diddy's lawyers, the judge said to Diddy's lawyers, y'all could have asked about this already on cross-examination. Well, Diddy's lawyers are saying, yes, Your Honor, but they could also asked about it. And now they're asking someone else to testify about this hearsay that they could have asked her about. And I actually agree with them. It wouldn't have taken very much for the government to add one more question saying, or maybe a series, 4 or 5 more questions about this particular text message exchange. That being said, I believe Cassie has already discussed many times, many ways, that she was forced or made or coerced to do things. I think if the defense wants to bring it up, the government should be able to. But if I'm the judge, maybe I just keep it out. I don't know. We'll see. Diddy's lawyers are saying prosecutors notified them of okay. Diddy's lawyers are saying that the feds notified them of Deonte Nash's planned testimony as part of a voluminous amount of material, which made it easy to miss. Okay, nope. I'm back on the government side again. Look, I'll flip-flop. I reserve the right to change my mind every time, and I'm trying, y'all. I mean, I am biased towards, like, I'm biased against Diddy, I think, a little bit, because I think I already kind of made my mind up a little that I think he probably did something. However, I'm trying to keep an open mind. I'm back on the government side because, look, Diddy's team was arguing that this conversation wasn't raised during Cassie's questioning. But the government's like, yeah, but it was raised in the stuff we turned over to you, stupid. And Mark Agnifilo and them were saying, no. They gave us a whole lot of stuff all at once. So we just missed it. Well, okay. Well, you just admitted you missed it. So I don't know what else you want to do. Okay. Then from Janae Kingsbury, Washington Post, 21 minutes ago, she said, arson investigator to testify about Kid Cudi car explosion. Lance Jimenez, an arson investigator with the LA Fire Department, will take the stand today. Why? To testify about his report of a 2012 car explosion in Kid Cudi's driveway. Kid Cudi told the jury last week that Diddy blew up his Porsche after learning that Kid Cudi was dating Cassie. Let's see. According to prosecutors, Jimenez observed signs of arson at the scene, including a bottle filled with gasoline, a burned handkerchief, and in the car, and a lighter nearby. Conducted that the fire in Miss Cudi's black Porsche was intentionally set using a Molotov cocktail. Prosecutors have tried to bar Diddy's lawyers from questioning about the investigator about the DNA. We talked about that earlier. The government argued that Jimenez did not collect the DNA. He did not conduct the analysis of it, which included partial female DNA reportedly on the bottle. However, the judge did not side with the government. He sided with Diddy, denying the government's request and clearing the way for Diddy's team to probe those findings during cross-examination. Okay, I'm not going to read that right now. Let's see. I will read this first paragraph because I do think it is interesting. 15 minutes ago, the Washington Post and Brannigan put revisiting Capricorn Clark's extraordinarily messy testimony. I just want to show y'all this first part because I did not know that this happened, and this does add a lot of context. She says some insight into how messy Capricorn Clark's testimony was yesterday. At one point, the judge urged Diddy's lawyers, Mark Agnifilo specifically, to wrap up his cross-examination because it wasn't, quote, in anyone's best interest for the former associate of Diddy to return to the stand Wednesday. He's like, I don't think this is in anyone's best interest if she's back on the stand. I think we all are better off if she's done today. Let's go back to Inner City Press and see. I'm sure he's tweeted quite a bit since last we read. Okay. All right. So just to refresh your recollection, the last thing we read was the assistant U.S. attorney saying, "What did you see?" And the LAPD guy, Ignacio, he said, "I saw high-end watches and purses. Some were wrapped up." This is when he walked into Kid Cudi's house. "Some were unwrapped. Two detectives then showed up and when we came out, I saw the same black Escalade now driving down the hill. Like it was in the driveway here, and now it's driving down the hill." Okay, then he says, did you run the plate of the Escalade? This is the assistant U.S. attorney asking the questions. "You ran the plate of the Escalade?" "Yes. It came back as Bad Boy Records." Dun, dun. Oh. I need to report a homicide. I need to report. Okay. Wow. "You ran the plate of the Escalade." "Yep. It came back as Bad Boy Records." Why did I just do that whole song and dance? Well, because it didn't come back as Sean Combs. It came back as the company vehicle, aka Rico, using his businesses. Even if Diddy is able to say he personally was not in the US because he was at an orphanage in Kazakhstan, even if there was a Bad Boy Records vehicle. I keep thinking about the boom boom. This what we're talking about right now is the break-in. So I got to keep those separate. This is the break-in. So I don't think Diddy did say he was out of town during this. However, even if Diddy wasn't in that car, two of his employees were. And they were in a Bad Boy Records car. How did he find out about it? He was reading the Bad Boy phone emails. So this just proves Rico if he's not in the car. Okay. So no further questions. So the last question is, did you run the plates of the Escalade? Yes. It came back as Bad Boy Records. No further questions. Here comes Brian Steele for Diddy on the cross-examination. He says, "This was 13 years ago, right?" "Yes." "You read your partner's report, didn't you?" "Yes." "The streets there, are they dead ends?" according to the map. It's a beautiful neighborhood, right? Cul-de-sac. Ignacio's like, I guess. All right, so you don't follow the car as it drives away, right? Right. Did you see a Porsche? He said, I don't know. Do you know the definition of a kidnapping? Objection, Your Honor. That is calls for legal conclusions. Judge is like, true. No, you can't ask that, Brian Steele. Do something else. Do you know the definition of a kidnapping? He had to know that was going to get objected. Were you told the homeowner was in the house shortly before you and your partner got there? Objection, but this time the judge overruled it. I don't know if he answered it or not. Was the door unlocked? He asked the police. Brian Steele asks the cop, Officer Ignacio, was Kid Cudi's front door unlocked? The officer said, yes. There was no furniture upended, right? Right. You called it a trespass, not a burglary, right? Because, objection, Your Honor, what is this? This is a whole legal argument? The judge's like, yeah, I think, yeah. Actually, yeah, sustained. Any report of a theft? No. Okay. Then Diddy's lawyer asks, okay, officer, if you would have thought there was a pew-pew in the Escalade, you could have put out a bolo, right? I don't know what that is exactly. I think it's just where you like stop the person, or what is it? Let me just look it up. Hold on. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Okay, so BOLO in police terms stands for be on the lookout. It's a notification system used by law enforcement to alert, let me put it up, to alert officers about a person, vehicle, or item they should be looking for. This could be a suspect in a crime, a missing person, or a stolen vehicle. So is this person a crime suspect? Is it a missing person, a stolen vehicle? You could have put one of those out, couldn't you? If you thought there was a pew-pew in there, but you didn't, right? He said, right. Any mention of security cameras at Kid Cudi's house? He said, I saw some. Kid Cudi wasn't hyperventilating, right? He said, well, I don't know, hyperventilating. He was tense. I would say Kid Cudi was tense. Did you search his Porsche? No. It was 8:20 a.m., not 6:30 a.m. Isn't that right? Right. Nothing further. No redirect. So this person is finished with his testimony. So what did Brian Steele get out of him? What did he really want? He wants to show that it's a cul-de-sac. There's all dead ends. Probably they're going to say he would have had to pass back in front of the house again to get to going down the hill, and the route don't make sense. You were told Kid Cudi was in the house shortly before your partner got there. I don't know what he answered to that. The door was unlocked, so that's gonna help somewhat. The neighborhood's beautiful. I don't know why he needed to say that. Didn't follow the car. He just, he's gonna say that the officer has said he memorized the license plate. He didn't say he followed the exact same car. Do you know the definition of a kidnapping? That was so weird. Were you told were you told Kid Cudi was in the house before you got there? Was the door unlocked? No furniture was turned over. No, nothing was stolen, right? No. And you didn't even put a be on the lookout out, did you? He should have put a be on the lookout out. That's a good question. Like, why didn't he maybe he didn't want to put a lookout for bad. See, this is the thing. Sometimes Diddy's lawyers do things to help Diddy, but it actually ends up helping and maybe also hurting. Because here it's like, you could have put out a be on the lookout for this vehicle, right? And he said, right. And he already credibly said he thought that that Escalade might have been involved in something. He already did credibly say that. Because he said, I was pulling up on his Kid Cudi's house and an Escalade was leaving. And it was like suspicious there was Escalade there. So I just memorized the license plate. But probably once he saw it belonged to Bad Boy Records, the government could argue, yeah, that's why the cop didn't put the bolo out. Because he was so powerful. I don't know. They haven't argued that Diddy worked with police yet, and I doubt they will, but they should, if it's true. I don't know. Okay, and then they're trying to make it seem like Kid Cudi wasn't hyperventilating. Like, that matters. Like, who cares? Like, why is that one of the 5 questions Brian Steele asked? It's kind of strange. All right, let's go to CNN. They have 3 updates. Okay. 24 minutes ago, CNN, LAPD officer testifies he responded to Kid Cudi's home in 2011, saw a black Escalade flee. The officer has been with the LAPD for 16 years. He responded to Kid Cudi's home the morning Diddy allegedly broke in during December 2011. At the time, he was on patrol in the Hollywood division, which included Kid Cudi's house. He and his partner responded to a radio call for a possible burglary at the home at 8:20 a.m. Ignacio testified that he noticed a black Escalade parked outside Kid Cudi's home when he arrived, but the SUV took off up the hill as soon as the marked police vehicle with lights and sirens on pulled up behind it. Okay, so the lights and the sirens were on and they were coming up the hill. Wee woo, wee woo, and the lights. They were coming up toward the driveway. Diddy leaves, or the black Escalade leaves out. He said he took note of the license plate, but he could not see any passengers through the tinted glass. He testified he didn't pursue the Escalade because there wasn't a crime at that point. 22 minutes ago, the cross-examination started. Attorney Brian Steele is cross-examining LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio. 20 minutes ago, LA officer described the scene when he arrived at Kid Cudi's house in 2011. He noticed a black Escalade parked outside of the home when he pulled up by the home. When he ran the license plate, the vehicle's registration tied back to Bad Boy Productions, Inc. He said he entered the home. The door was unlocked, he testified, but no one was home. The officer noted several high-value watches and purses. Some were wrapped, some were unwrapped. Ignacio said Kid Cudi eventually came back to the house, and they filed a trespassing report. Police report from alleged break-in at Kid Cudi's home didn't mention a pew, officer says. The officer is testifying about the alleged break-in at Kid Cudi's home, and he said he did not remember if anyone told him a pew was involved in the incident, but he confirmed he didn't reference a gun in his report. An arson investigator is the next witness. This is all CNN. Investigator Lance Jimenez is the next witness. 4 minutes ago, LAPD officer testifies Kid Cudi was flustered after 2011 incident. LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio testified that Kid Cudi was flustered, real flustered, but did not report a gun being involved or that any property was stolen from the home. Ignacio is off the stand. The prosecution did not conduct a redirect. Okay, so there's a Diddy docket update. Thanks so much from Inner City Press. Another U.S. versus Combs docketing in response to Inner City Press motion. Win. Yes, slay. This is by Cassie's lawyer about Diddy's subpoena. Story with full documents coming. We have 2 new updates from Washington Post. Ann Brannigan, now on the stand is Christopher Ignacio, an LAPD officer who responded to Kid Cudi's home break-in report in 2011. He testified that a black Escalade with tinted windows was parked outside Cuddy's home in the Hollywood Hills when he arrived. It drove off a short time later. So outside his home, maybe it wasn't in the driveway. Ignacio said he couldn't see who was in the car, but the license plate was registered to Sean Combs' company. After 15 or 20 minutes, Ignacio said the same Escalade drove back down the hill past Cuddy's home. Okay, so he did see it pass in front of the home, according to the Washington Post. It wasn't like, oh, all over there down the hill. It was just like he was at the end and then he turned around and came back down. His testimony might corroborate former Diddy assistant Capricorn Clark, who testified that she was in the vehicle with Diddy outside Cuddy's house and that Diddy chased Kid Cudi's car shortly before the police arrived. 9 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan, Washington Post. Defense attorney Brian Steele is now picking apart details from LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio's testimony about the break-in. He asked the officer if he noticed Kid Cudi's black Porsche or saw a car chase when he arrived at the home. He said he saw a black Cadillac Escalade, which was registered to Diddy's company, but did not see a Porsche. Interesting. The government calls investigator Lance Jimenez arson investigator. Then he takes the stand and they placed a binder in front of him. And first question, how many fires have you witnessed? Excuse me. Beep. How many fires have you investigated? He said 100 a year. Everything between mansions to dumpster fires. LA is pretty crazy. Is this live? No. Okay, let me get some of our other live coverage up. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Y'all, breaking news, at least to me, 7 minutes ago. Look at this from the New York Post. Ben Kochman, 7 minutes ago. Cassie once suggested she could date Jay-Z. You know that pissed him off. Diddy's ex-assistant, Capricorn Clark, told jurors Tuesday Cassie once floated the idea of dating rap superstar Jay-Z, though Cassie likely made the comment in jest. Capricorn Clark yesterday, no one said this, yesterday testified about a conversation in which she warned Cassie to move away from Diddy, who physically abused her for years. You told Cassie, quote, you should move away from him and date other people, didn't you? That's Agnifilo had asked that to Capricorn Clark. And she said to you that Jay-Z was taken, so who would she date? Capricorn Clark said, true. She said that? Diddy's lawyer asked. Like, Diddy really wants to know, did she really say that? Yes, she really said that. Jay-Z was taken. Diddy's lawyer name dropped Jay-Z in his final question to Clark before she left the stand Tuesday afternoon. Jay-Z has been married to pop icon Beyonce since 2008. Wow. Then 6 minutes ago, New York Post, arson investigator takes the witness stand after LAPD officer wraps up. An arson investigator, Lance Jimenez, has just taken the witness stand after LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio finished testifying in less than an hour. Jimenez, who works with the LA Fire Department, is likely going to testify about inspecting after Kid Cudi's ritzy Porsche was hit with a boom. He claims Diddy was behind the car. Boom, boom. Okay, this is a good reminder here from the independent.com. This is 42 minutes ago, but it is a good reminder about what's to come later today. Mia, and Deonte Nash. So after the guy who's on the witness stand right now is Lance Jimenez. He is the one who is the fire guy, the fire investigator. He investigated the Porsche boom boom. We just heard from a police who investigated the alleged break-in. Mia and Deonte Nash allegedly witnessed Diddy attack Cassie in her sleep. On her second day of testimony, Cassie told the jury that her friends Mia and Deonte Nash witnessed Diddy attack her while she was asleep. So Cassie was sleeping, Diddy attacked her, and there were witnesses, Mia and Deonte Nash. Okay, both Mia and Nash are expected to take the witness stand today. Cassie, who dated Diddy for more than a decade, testified that the violent incident unfolded August 2017. Mia, who was Diddy's former assistant, and Nash, who is a stylist, watched the music mogul enter Cassie's room and attack her while she slept. Cassie testified to this. Then Deonte and Mia jumped on Diddy's back as he threw Cassie into a bed frame, and I believe that's when she got the eyebrow slash. The court was then shown photographs from the alleged incident, including one depicting a nasty gash on Cassie's eyebrow. So the most recent tweet from Inner City Press is the one that we read, where the guy said he's still just testifying about these house fires, or these fires he investigates, everything from dumpster fires, everything from mansions to dumpster fires. Okay, now we have another update from Washington Post 1 minute ago. In a brief cross-examination, LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio confirmed he didn't see any property disturbed when he arrived at Kid Cudi's house. In the words of defense attorney Brian Steele, there was no furniture upended, no bullet holes in the walls, no notes of threats. Ignacio said Kid Cudi, whose legal name is Scott Muscudi, was cooperative but flustered after the alleged break-in, which police investigated as a trespassing. The government has now called Lance Jimenez an arson investigator and firefighter to the stand. So he is a firefighter as well as an investigator. So he has a story out at the Patreon. Inner City Press does. Diddy docket ed. And Sean Combs trial after Inner City Press won docket order. Yes, slay. Okay, I'm just looking for some updates here. Let me see. I'll look some more sources up. Okay. Now we're on NBC News. Okay. I'll just read the one most recent one. It was 14 minutes ago. Adam Rice. Oh, hold on. Here you go. Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and Doha Madani. Defense attorney Brian Steele cross-examined the LA police officer who responded to the Kid Cudi break-in, getting him to testify that the incident at the home was reported as a burglary. But Brian Steele asked whether there was any evidence or reports of stolen items. Ignacio said no. Oh, so this is actually kind of a big win. This is kind of a big win for Diddy, y'all. Hate to say it, but it is. I think it is. Why? Because one of the requisites. Ooh, this is a good lawyering. Wow. So, Kid Cudi called, or someone called the cops to report a burglary. People were inside his house. But Diddy left all the high-priced stuff there. They didn't steal it. It was more of a trespass. So, defense attorney Brian Steele, Diddy's lawyer, testified it was reported as a burglary. Yeah. But then Brian Steele said, well, was there any evidence that anything was stolen? The cop said no. The cop also testified there were no reports made to him that there was a threat to unalive anyone either. This is an important moment for Diddy's defense because robbery and murder are predicate crimes that would provide support to the government's racketeering charge. So the fact that this was called in as a burglary, but they didn't report anything stolen, made the cops knock it down to just a simple trespass. They also didn't report the gun. They didn't report that they were threatened, which it is true. It is, sorry, excuse me. I don't know if it's true because I wasn't there, but it could be true. It could be true. Something was missing. However, it still does help Diddy a little bit because now the government is going to have to prove the robbery happened. There is no robbery. Now they're going to have to, because nobody reported anything stolen. Also, this the threats to unalive. These are predicate crimes that would provide the threats. This says murder, but it's threat. It's the threat. They didn't tell the cops that Diddy had made that threat. Okay. 1 minute ago from CNN.com, fire official says he investigated 2012 fire that destroyed Kid Cudi's Porsche. LA arson investigator Lance Jimenez testified he responded to Kid Cudi's home on January 9th, 2012 to investigate the fire set to the Porsche. Kid Cudi testified last week that he got a call from his dog sitter on one morning in January and was told the car was on fire. Okay. We have more tweets, at least one more from Inner City Press. One more tweet. Did you respond? This is the assistant U.S. attorney. This is their witness. This is, they're still presenting their case. I think they have another 3 weeks left after this week. 2 weeks. They have 2 more weeks. The government has 2 more weeks to present their case of their witnesses. And then after that, Diddy's lawyers are going to get to present their case. They're all saying it's on track to end by July 4th. Did you respond as an expert? This is the question by the assistant U.S. attorney. Did you respond to as an expert to an automobile fire at Kid Cudi's address? Yes. There was a cut in the roof of the Porsche. What about inside the Porsche? There were burn patterns inside the Porsche. Any items inside the car? Yeah. There was a bottle on the front seat. We just got another tweet a few seconds ago. Also, a handkerchief, it was burned, a lighter on the ground. And what hypothesis, as an arson investigator, did you draw? He said, Molotov, boom, boom. How did you think that the boom, boom item got into the car? He said it looked like someone lit it, cut the roof, and then dropped it in. I wouldn't expect it to go in that order. You light it first and then cut? That seems weird to me. We have a new update from CNN. Arson investigator testifies Kid Cudi's Porsche showed signs of fire damage. Arson investigator said the Porsche was parked close to the garage. He observed a cut in the canvas to the roof of the vehicle and burn patterns throughout the seats, the center console, the interior roofing, and some of the carpet. There was a bottle on the front seat. This is a quote. And there was like a cloth, a handkerchief on the center console that was burned. He said he noticed a disposable lighter outside the car a couple of feet from the driver's side. We have another update from Anne Brannigan at the Washington Post. She said, in a brief cross-examination, LAPD officer Christopher Ignacio confirmed that he didn't see any property disturbed when he arrived to Kid Cudi's house. In the words of defense attorney Brian Steele, there was, quote, no furniture upended, no pew-pew holes in the walls or notes of threats. The cop did say that Kid Cudi was cooperative but flustered after the alleged break-in, which police investigated as a trespassing. The government has now called Lance Jimenez an arson investigator and firefighter to the stand. Maybe we already read that. Okay, we're on the all right, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. We have an update from NBC News. Arson investigator Lance Jimenez recalled how he was dispatched to Kid Cudi's LA home and found him boom boom in the rapper's car. An engine company was already seen. What is this? Am I having a stroke? What does this sentence say? An engine company was already seen, but they spelled it like the noun scene instead of the verb scene. They spelled it like on the scene. An engine company was already seen. What engine company? And found a Porsche with a foot-long cut on its canvas top. He reported a bottle with a burned handkerchief. What engine company? What is that? What is he talking about? I need more context. On scene? I'm reading it wrong. Hold on. An engine company was already on scene. But what is the engine company doing there on scene? What in the hell does that mean? Okay. Still waiting for some more tweets from Inner City Press. Let's try Washington Post. Okay, let me try. I honestly, y'all, I can't stop thinking about the Kazakhstan orphanage. Okay, we got another update. Oh, thank God, Caitlin. Oh, thank God. Y'all got more sense than me. It's the fire engine company, the fire department. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Fire truck on the scene. Y'all, an engine. They could have wrote it for us lay peoples out here. Fire truck on the scene. It sounds like y'all all know, though. Just me that didn't know. Got it. Okay. Fire department. Got it. Engine company. My word. Okay. 1 minute ago, NBC News bottle in the boom boom cocktail didn't break. So it was supposed to. And sometimes, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and all that. So the boom boom didn't actually do the boom boom. It was just fire. The damage to his car was not as extensive as it could have been because the cocktail didn't shatter as it was likely intended to do. He testified that the cloth fell out. So somebody messed it up. They didn't do it right. And the bottle didn't break, which would have caused the gasoline inside the bottle to disperse. Okay, so when I guess in the process of dropping this bottle, you can imagine, like, this is my water. But, I guess what they did is they put some type of combustible substance in here, and then there is a handkerchief or something that they put in it, and then they set it on fire like a wick, and it goes down into the boom boom, and then that's what creates probably some type of pressure differentiation from the inside and the outside. All of the particles inside are expanding because they're alcohol on fire, and it expands too fast, the glass breaks. I'm assuming. I'm just putting, I went to Louisiana public school, so I don't know. Can't make any promises about my knowledge about this stuff, but that's how it's supposed to work. But then in the meantime, they put this handkerchief down in there, they drop it down in the roof, and the handkerchief comes out. So now you just got a handkerchief on fire, full of alcohol, and that's about it. The flame isn't going to go into the bottle to make the combustion occur. That's why you got to pay attention in school. Okay. So, yeah, what Janine said. I think Robin Hood said he took the wrong people with him for this crime. I think that's true. Somebody said the handkerchief hit the seat and the bottle fell. Okay, gotcha. Look, listen, I understand y'all trying to educate me, but be careful on what you're saying in here, because who knows who's going to see this. Also, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Okay, I'm just reading what's happening at the trial. Just please, not as many more details. Thank you. A botched boom boom indeed. A botched boom boom. Okay, Vision. I told you that's my pet peeve. You're banned. Bye. Yep, I gotta do it every day. Y'all make me have to do it every day. Okay, so let's see. Jury shown more images of Kid Cudi's destroyed car. They're now being shown photos of the damage to the Porsche, including one that shows the boom boom bottle on the driver's seat. Kid Cudi accused Diddy last week. He accused him of being involved with the destruction of his Porsche. Okay, I'm waiting for a new tweet. I guess this guy's just like boring or something, or maybe it's taking a while to show the jury. But you know what that means? We're going to get more pictures released today. Maybe they're out already. Oh my God, y'all, there's like so many bots in here. Hold on. I got to get rid of some people. Yeah, Amber Tucky, same. It sounds to me like whoever threw it was just kind of bumbling around. Thank you. Yes. No, we do not. I don't want it. I'm just piecing it together based on what they were kind of saying in the trial. Shannon, thank you. She says, in the fire department, you have trucks and engines. The engine men search for the people in the building, and the fire truck men put the fire out. The trucks are the ones with the ladder on them. Slay. Thank you, Shannon. That is helpful. We have 2 new updates from CNN. LAPD and firefighter testimony could aid prosecution in proving racketeering conspiracy charge. Well, the LAPD kind of already helped him. Is trespass one of the requisites? Probably not, right? RICO, trespass. No. I mean, the AI does say it could be used in the broader pattern of racketeering, but I do think burglary would have been stronger. Okay. So 1 minute ago, we get a CNN.com update. LAPD and firefighter testimony could aid in prosecution in proving racketeering conspiracy, legal expert says. An LA police officer and a fire department arson investigator took the stand today to provide testimony that could help the prosecution prove the racketeering conspiracy charge against Diddy with regard to Kid Cudi's arson and break-in allegations. This attorney is Kelly Hyman. Yesterday, former Diddy assistant Capricorn Clark provided details during her testimony about Cassie's relationship with Kid Cudi and how that did not sit well with Diddy. That Cassie dating somebody else. Capricorn Clark testified that she was kidnapped and taken to Kid Cudi's house by Diddy. And this legal expert said that can also be key in proving the racketeering conspiracy. However, these allegations were not brought to the police or made to court. But the prosecution witnesses from LAPD and the LA Fire Department can still help prove the charge. She says, quote, "So it's important to remember that when Kid Cudi took the witness stand, he testified he believed Diddy caused the harm to the car, the arson. So when the prosecution now has the people from LAPD and the fire department, they can also discuss exactly what happened to the car and help substantiate the prosecution's position." 3 minutes ago, CNN.com, Kid Cudi's Porsche had severe damage, but not typical of boom, boom cocktail, the investigator said. He said there was severe damage, but not nearly the kind of catastrophic damage he normally sees from fully operational boom, boom, booms. Okay. We do have some more tweets from Inner City Press. I'm going to go to the docket after we get caught up here. Okay, so the assistant U.S. attorney says to this arson investigator, let me show you some photos. This is the black Porsche that was burned. Isn't that right? She says, yes. What kind of bottle was used? She said, Old English 800 malt liquor. And the wick? It was a designer type scarf, silky. In my opinion, this was targeted. Okay, so the boom boom was like a designer silk scarf, and the bottle was Old English 800. The assistant U.S. attorney said, okay, and the partial DNA profile, that was consistent with a female contributor. I was told that. Do you know what it means? He said, no. Do you know if it's possible to touch an item without leaving DNA? Objection. Judge said sustained. He's not an expert. Y'all were up here just arguing that this morning. And didn't y'all say he shouldn't be asked those questions? So they're talking about the partial DNA profile. Now, this is the prosecutor bringing it up because if the other side already brought it up and they're going to get to bring it up. The judge said that the guy could be asked questions about it, the arson investigator. But that being said, he's going to still only allow certain questions to be asked because this guy's not an expert about DNA. He's an arson investigator. Just looking for some new updates. Look at this picture. Ooh, look at that. Cassie once suggested, this is New York Post, Ben Kochman. Cassie once suggested she could date Jay-Z. Capricorn Clark told jurors Tuesday, Cassie once floated the idea of dating rap superstar Jay-Z. Oh, this is the one we already read. They just added a picture. So we got Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kanye, Kim Kardashian, Diddy, and Cassie. And more, but those are the ones named. Huh. Feel like he's having a great time. Him too. Him too. Her too. Actually, she don't really. She looks a little bit like she'd rather be at her house. Okay. We have two new updates from the Independent. 9 minutes ago, arson investigator describes aftermath of Kid Cudi car boom boom. He said the car roof had been cut open and there was a bottle inside. There was a bottle in the front seat and there was like a cloth, handkerchief. The center console was burned. 4 minutes ago, arson investigator says the boom boom used to boom boom Kid Cudi's car didn't shatter completely. They typically cause more extensive damage. The cloth fell out. The cloth in the bottle fell out, but the glass didn't shatter, causing gasoline to leak out. Okay, so the gasoline that leaked out caught fire. We have an update from CNN. Arson investigators said it did cause a smoldering fire. Even though it didn't cause the damage it could have, the gasoline didn't spread fire throughout the car because the cloth fell out of the bottle and that didn't shower, causing only a smoldering fire. Had the fire boom boom exploded as intended, the car parked a few feet from the house would likely have spread to the nearby foliage and eventually had caught fire to the home. So the arson investigator said, if this boom boom thing had done as intended, the fire that it would have caused would have spread likely to the home. Oh my gosh. Kid Cudi's car was targeted, arson investigator says. This is CNN.com. He testified that he believes someone targeted Kid Cudi's Porsche. He noted it was not easily visible from the street. It was parked in an affluent neighborhood with low crime activity, and another car parked in the driveway at the same time was not harmed. That was probably the babysitter's car, the dog sitter. What happened to the fingerprint cards? Oh, y'all. Oh my God. Oh my God, y'all. It's happening. It's happening. Oh my God. Look at this. What happened to the fingerprint cards? You know, when you take the fingerprints off the evidence and all that? They were destroyed that same year, 2012. On whose orders? The firefighter said someone in LAPD. Okay, so not you or anyone on your team, fire department. Combs' lawyer, Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, said, I am going to object to all of this. Can we have a sidebar? Ooh, I bet you freaking do want a sidebar. Oh my gosh. I have to retweet this. This is one of those moments you got to retweet. Fingerprints destroyed. And because you know what else always gets destroyed? Just all kinds of stuff in the Diddy trial, the Biggie investigation, all kinds of stuff in the Tupac investigation. I think both unaliving weapons went missing. Definitely one of them. What happens to them? Why they all go missing? Fingerprints destroyed in Diddy trial. Arson investigator says fingerprint cards were destroyed by LAPD regarding Kid Cudi Molotov boom boom. Porsche incident. Diddy lawyer objects. Obviously. LOL. So they're at Sidebar. Why? Because Mark Agnifilo don't want nobody talking about. This is going to come back to bite Mark Agnifilo in the butt. Want to know why? Because I think because the judge let in the stuff about the DNA, he's going to let in the stuff about the fingerprints. This is why they're having a sidebar right now. Diddy's lawyers do not want it to come in that probably the LAPD was working with Diddy. Because look, who ordered those fingerprints from the Molotov boom boom to be deleted, to be destroyed? The fire department says, somebody from the LAPD, but not you or anyone on your team. Mark Agnifilo, no, objection. No, y'all cannot talk about the LAPD destroying evidence. No. Because remember, y'all, this is 2012 is the same year it happened. One new update. 2 minutes ago, CNN.com, partial female DNA profile found on bottle in Kid Cudi's Porsche. Arson, investigator says. The bottle cloth and lighter were tested for DNA, but only the bottle returned results. He confirmed that a partial DNA profile consistent with a female contributor came from the bottle, but said he didn't know exactly what that meant. Earlier, he testified he does not have any expertise in DNA testing or analysis. One new update from Washington Post. Fancy handkerchief made for poor boom boom cocktail. Investigator testifies. The attempted boom boom of his black Porsche could have been much worse had the perpetrators used more basic materials. Fire investigator Lance Jimenez testified. Determined that a homemade boom boom, also known as a Molotov boom boom, caused the fire in 2012. Typically with such things, a bottle full of flammable liquid is stuffed with a cloth and set aflame, but Jimenez testified that the designer type handkerchief in this case was made of a silky type material that fell out of its bottle. As a result, the bottle didn't break and the gasoline didn't disperse. He had the bottle broken as intended. The damage to the car would have been far worse, and the fire could have spread to the surrounding vegetation and Kid Cudi's house. NewYorkPost.com 3 minutes ago, Kyle Schnitzer, Ben Kochman, and Priscilla DeGregory. Kid Cudi's Porsche was targeted with Molotov boom boom made from 40-ounce malt liquor bottle with designer handkerchief. The fire inspector told jurors that the arson attack on Kid Cudi's Porsche was targeted. The bottle used was a 40-ounce Old English malt liquor bottle that was filled with gasoline and a designer handkerchief. The fabric was a silky material, which ultimately made the boom boom less effective and limited the damage to the car. The fire smoldered out and didn't cause damage that it was intended for. So the intended damage didn't fully happen. Just scrolling through our updates here. Okay, 9 minutes ago, we got Adam Rice and David K. Lee of NBC News. No doubt, this was an intentionally set fire, arson investigator says. He called it a targeted crime. It was clear that an attacker took a bottle of gasoline, put a cloth in it, set it on fire, and dropped it into the Porsche, according to the investigator. Quote, I personally felt it was targeted. Arson is among the acts listed in the racketeering conspiracy allegations against Diddy. So maybe Diddy, he won one, he lost one, right? Because he wasn't investigated for a burglary or a robbery. He was investigated for a trespass, which could be used for a pattern of broader activity, but you still have to meet the racketeering prereqs, which include arson, which include burglary, but I don't know if they include trespass. Now, last we checked in here on Inner City Press, Mark Agnifilo was calling for a sidebar because he was asking about the fingerprints on the bottle getting destroyed. Why'd the fingerprints get destroyed? The jury is taking a 10-minute break. Thank you to Tabby Talk with Mimi exclusive for the $1.99 super chat. You got some soul. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Laura Smith, for the 777. 777s for divine healing. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Luis. Shout out to you becoming a member. Thank you, Catherine, for the $9.99. Girl, I've been sick for 3 weeks. You're reminding me of first days of it. I hope yours doesn't last as long as mine has. I hope so too, girl. I don't want to be sick for 3 weeks. But I'll be sick for 3 weeks doing this Diddy trial. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Emma, for the $2 super chat. Mazel. That's funny. Mazel tov. That's funny. Thanks so much for the 50 super sticker, Louisa. Thank you, Heba, for the $4.99. I hope you feel better soon. Thank you for being a trusted source we can rely on and doing with humor even when you're sick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Kim S, for the $5 super chat. If the defense gets a retrial, will the government be able to bring new charges when the case gets retried? I think they could. I'm not 100% sure, though. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Snowfire, for the $5 super chat. If she doesn't want to come back after having the baby, could it be a reason for mistrial? Well, I don't know if it was like specifically like it. We'll never really know. If what you're asking is if she comes back again and they have to do the trial all over again, would they be more likely to find Diddy not guilty because she's not pregnant? I mean, your guess would be as good as mine. I really don't know. But I don't believe her not coming back will be a reason for a mistrial. And the reason why is because they had time. Diddy's lawyers had time to ask these questions. They had notice from the government, and they admit that they missed it about this Nash conversation. So I don't believe, as of what we've seen so far, that it is enough for a mistrial because they did have time and they squandered it at the beginning of the day on the day they had Cassie on cross-examination. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Brooklyn Pencil says, in Kid Cudi's 2011 Pursuit of Happiness video, he's wearing the exact same outfit that he wore to court the other day. You lying. Let me go look it up. Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness. It's on YouTube. He's wearing the same. Okay. Let me turn the sound off so I don't get struck. Oh, snap. Oh my God. That is why he wore that. He didn't wear the hat. Wow. That is the outfit he wore to court. You're so right. That is crazy. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you for the $13.99 Canadian. I mean, Danaya, why do you think people are speculating he might walk? I think people have lost a lot of trust in some of our institutions, frankly, and a lot of times, like, people like Diddy do get away with stuff like this. Um, that being said, it's not all just Diddy. I mean, it depends what the prosecutors wanted to actually bring charges for, you know? So that's probably why people are generally distrustful of institutions. I also think there's a large astroturfing campaign going on, like very, very serious and severe um, media matters. Like people are being paid to like say certain things online for sure. I think. Thank you for $2 super chat. We all know from Scientology that LAPD has issues. It's true. Thank you for the $2. Shout out to Nakia becoming a new member. Thank you, Dion Davi, for the $1.99 super chat. Trespassing to intimidate could be one element. Right. It could be. Yeah. It's not like one of those like listed ones, but it could be. And I definitely think it was. If what they're saying is true, then it was definitely trespassing to intimidate, in my opinion. Thank you, Jackie Blue, for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much for working while you're not feeling well. Yes, I am doing those things. I'm working and not feeling well. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to Dead a Carcass, oh girl, for $5 super chat. Just want to say hi. Love you, your vibe, energy at all. Thanks for the amazing coverage on this case going back all these months. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the $5 super chat. Let's go to Inner City Press. All right. After a long sidebar, this is 5 minutes ago, Inner City Press. Jurors are like, all right. The judge says, okay, jurors, we're trying to sync up here. Why don't we take a break? Y'all go on your 10-minute break. Combs exits too into his holding cell. So whenever they do a break, Diddy goes to his holding cell, I guess. Not always. Sometimes I think they let him stay in. Agnifilo says, let me get him. So they get Diddy brought back in. The judge says, Assistant U.S. Attorney, what was the point of bringing all that fingerprint stuff in? So the judge is asking, why did you bring that in? I need your reasoning because, you know, there's rules of evidence and you maybe aren't following them. Because remember all the way up here, can you touch an item without leaving DNA? The judge didn't let her ask that. The feds. He didn't let her ask that. What happened to the print cards? Where's the fingerprint cards? They were destroyed. Who ordered them destroyed? Somebody in LAPD. So not the fire department. The Agnifilo is like, we need to talk. No, come to the side. And then they all talk for a long time. So long, in fact. They talk for so long, in fact, that the judge has to let the jurors go out on a break. In which they do. Diddy is brought out and then comes back in. And the judge is like, what was the purpose of getting into all that? Why are you asking the fire investigator who destroyed fingerprint cards? She said, well, they're questioning about it. They're questioning the investigation. So we're entitled to ask this. The judge said, when I heard the questions, I assumed the judge says, when I heard the questions you were asking, and again, y'all, he has to put all this on the record because no matter who wins and no matter who loses, it's going to be appealed. And when it's appealed, the judge needs to put on the transcript record every single reason he did every single thing. So he says, when I heard the questions, he's telling his mental state of why he's about to decide what he's about to decide. He said, when I heard the questions, I assumed there was going to be some type of line of cross-examination from Diddy's lawyers and them about fingerprint cards, like kind of how they're asking about DNA. But that doesn't appear to be the case. So I'm thinking of telling the jurors to disregard all that stuff about the fingerprint cards being destroyed. Agnifilo, Diddy's lawyers, like, this is outrageous. What's outrageous about it? He wants a mistrial? He said 2 minutes ago, Agnifilo says, we are considering what remedies to ask for. Let me speak with my colleague. They implied that someone in this courtroom was responsible for the destruction of the fingerprint cards. Did they? They implied, Mark Agnifilo is saying the government implied someone in this courtroom was responsible for the destruction of the fingerprint cards. Who? Diddy? The investigator? I don't know what he's talking about. I'll have to watch Rabbit read the transcripts. I'm going to Washington Post. They're the details queens. Nope. They're getting their details together over there. I'm updating the New York Post. Sometimes they just have like an out of left field detail I didn't know. Now we're on the Independent. Now we're on NBC News. Okay, that's Kid Cudi music video. Let's see here. Okay, he's going into a recess. The judge is taking a recess, so I think he's going to go look at some law. But that means that probably Inner City Press is going to come out and do a video. So let's just hold off. Let's just see what's going on here, because it looks like they're arguing about different things. Let me just like Google like. There are claims, or there were claims that Diddy paid off LAPD to look the other way. Is that true? Who claimed that? In court today? Yeah, some girl. I mean, I did predict this. Yeah, the feds asked who destroyed the fingerprints. Yeah, they did. Diddy's lawyers are just spinning, Superfly said. They haven't even put up a fight in this case so far. Not asking Cassie's mama no questions said words. Diddy telling lawyers to get Kid Cudi off the stand now didn't help. Rico, somebody said, everyone in LA is paying off the police there. Kaiju said. Meows said Mia's going to be called last today. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make it. I think she's going to be called tomorrow. I don't think they're going to actually be able to make it because look, all this stuff going on. Somebody said all about the money. What is going on here? Let's see. We are considering what remedies to ask for. You know what remedies they're going to ask for. Okay, so what's going on here? Let's see. Hold on. All right. So what's going on here is it all starts here. What happened to the fingerprint cards? This is being asked to an arson investigator. Now, what I want to know, why they asking the arson investigator who destroyed stuff instead of asking the LAPD. That's what I want to know. What happened to the fingerprint cards? He said this fire arson investigator said they were destroyed. The fingerprint cards were destroyed the same year we took them. They took them. Someone in the LAPD ordered them to be destroyed. It wasn't anybody on the fire department. Mark Agnifilo is like, I'm objecting to all this. Then they have a very long sidebar. The jurors are put off into a break for 10 minutes. Diddy leaves out, comes back in. The judge is like, why are you asking all these questions about fingerprint cards getting destroyed? It doesn't seem relevant. She said, well, they're questioning the investigation. So we're entitled to question investigations too. The judge said, when I heard your questions, though, I assumed that Diddy's lawyers were going to be talking about fingerprint cards somehow. Like about the DNA. Like how Diddy and them were talking about DNA the other day. The judge said that doesn't appear to be the case. They're not going to be asking about fingerprint cards. So I'm thinking of telling the jurors to just disregard what they just heard. Agnifilo said that's not a powerful enough remedy. This is outrageous. It's outrageous. We need a mistrial. We're considering what remedies to ask for. Let me speak with my colleague. These people over here implied someone in this courtroom is responsible for the destruction of the fingerprint cards. I don't know how they would have implied that. I just Googled Diddy fingerprint cards. Nothing came up. You got a People magazine live updates. Oh, let's go. I bet you Fox News. Oh, did I leave out of Fox News? Let me go find them. Yeah, I guess they're not covering it live today. I do have two new updates from CNN. Bring those up. Okay, so we have the judge. We're back. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com. Judge instructs jury to disregard fingerprint cards testimony. Before the break, arson investigator Lance Jimenez testified that Kid Cudi had his home swept for fingerprints after the trespassing incident in December 2011. 2 fingerprints were recovered from the glass front door. He said he collected a card with those prints to compare everything. Okay. So remember, y'all, we're talking about 2 different incidents. We're talking about the break-in, and then a month later or so, we're talking about the car boom boom. The break-in, they investigated it ultimately as a trespass, although it was called in as a burglary. Nothing was stolen, so it just got investigated as a trespass. Then a month late, so they did sweep the home during the trespass investigation. They swept the home for fingerprints. They did recover 2 fingerprints on the glass front door. But then now they have I don't know why they didn't ask the officers why didn't they ask police officers who did the home about the fingerprints? Jimenez said he collected a card with those fingerprints to compare to anything retrieved from the arson incident. So he collected a card with the fingerprints when he did his investigation. Okay, so this guy is the fire guy, right? He's investigating the Porsche, the Porsche, the boom boom in the Porsche. This guy's the fire guy. But he did work with LAPD and said, give me some of them fingerprints because I want to see if they match these fingerprints. He testified that the print card that was kept with evidence from the arson case was destroyed. So the police department still also investigated the fire event, and those fingerprint cards were destroyed by someone in August 2012. The arson investigator testified that he typically has to sign off on the destruction of any evidence he submitted as lead investigator. But then Diddy's lawyers objected to this line of questioning. During the break, the judge said he would tell the jury to disregard the testimony about the fingerprints getting destroyed. The defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said prosecution's implications within that questioning were outrageous. He said, quote, "They were suggesting to this jury that someone in this courtroom had something to do with the improper and suspicious destruction of these fingerprints." Well, I mean, they weren't. They were just saying who destroyed the fingerprints. If the implication out of that is that maybe Diddy had something to do with it, that's an implication that you can draw on your own. Inner City Press has tweeted again 5 minutes ago. Someone was like, "I'm kind of confused. Who's trying to do what? What?" I mean, I do think this is a bot, AstroTurf bot. The prosecutor asked arson investigator about a fingerprint card being mysteriously ordered destroyed by him. Combs Agnifilo says this implies someone in this courtroom ordered them destroyed and is apparently mulling a first request for a mistrial. Yeah, as soon as he said this is outrageous, we're thinking of what remedies, it was letting me know. Yeah. It was letting me know that he was going to try and get a mistrial. Ah! I'm trying to find my Inner City Press. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. Let's see if he's... No. Okay, let's go here. Okay. We have 2 new updates from Washington Post. The first one's Anne Brannigan. Oh, hold on. The first one's Anne Brannigan 10 minutes ago. Diddy's lawyers plan to cross-examine LA firefighter about the DNA and fingerprint evidence retrieved from the scene of a car. The judge has overruled the government's objections to this line of questioning, so prosecutors are prompting Jimenez to talk about his lack of expertise on such matters. So this is very interesting right here because it seems to be like conflicting information. 10 minutes ago, we had Anne Brannigan at Washington Post saying, Diddy's lawyers plan to cross-examine LA firefighter about what? DNA and fingerprints. So even Anne Brannigan believed what the judge believed, which is that Diddy's lawyers are going to ask about DNA, fingerprints. But then Agnifilo's like, we're not even asking about fingerprints. We're leaving that crap out of here. And why is the government even bringing it up at all? We want a mistrial. So, but it's weird because Anne Brannigan thought they were asking about it. Why wouldn't Mark Agnifilo? The judge has overruled the government's objection to this line of questioning. Yeah, so if we can talk about, y'all can talk about DNA, we can talk about fingerprints. That does seem fair. That does seem fair. If they're going to be able to talk about, to a non-expert, DNA, partial DNA, and all of that, it does seem only fair that the fingerprints get to be talked about. However, the judge did not allow that to come in. But this is a 10-minute ago thing that she wrote. The judge overruled the government's objections to the line of questioning, at least about the DNA. So prosecutors are prompting Jimenez, the arson investigator, to talk about his lack of expertise on such matters. He testified that although he requested various items be tested, including the remains of the boom boom and a recovered lighter, he wasn't sufficiently trained in DNA or fingerprint collections, and he wasn't involved in that part of the investigation. He added that over the course of his 20-year career investigating fires, he has had very, very few hits with DNA because usually it's burned. The DNA is burned up. Fire investigators said fingerprint cards in the Kid Cudi car boom boom investigation were destroyed without his knowledge in 2012. On orders from a LA Police Department officer who was not part of his team. He was starting to testify that it was unusual for evidence in one of his investigations to be destroyed without his knowledge. When Diddy's lawyers raised objections to the line of questioning, the court then took a break. 2 minutes ago, Ann Brannigan, the judge said he would ask the jury to disregard the testimony about the destruction of fingerprint cards in the investigation into Kid Cudi's car boom boom. After Diddy's attorney declared the line of questioning about the incident was outrageous and prejudicial, they knew exactly what they were doing, Your Honor, said Mark Agnifilo during a sidebar while the jury was out of the room. Prosecutors argued that the destruction of the fingerprints was absolutely relevant to their questioning of arson investigator Lance Jimenez because those cards were destroyed. There was no evidence connecting people to the scene of the arson, but the judge seems to have sided with Diddy on this one. That's all a solid picture. Look at that. Besties. That looks like one of those inbred royals. No offense to whoever that is. What is on his shoulder? Oh, it's a hood. I'm waiting for more tweets. Let's go to CNN. Diddy's mom is in the courtroom. During the 10-minute break, Diddy took a bathroom break. I'm trying to look for the Diddy live trial. See if there's anything else. Oh, let's go to the docket. I'm going to look and see what's been filed. We can take a look at the docket. Whoa, y'all, look at all the filings. Okay, so this is a big one right here, 351. This is the motion to strike the expert testimony of Dr. Dawn Hughes. This submitted from Diddy's lawyers, specifically Alexandra Shapiro. Now, one of his lawyers actually took the questioning, did the cross-examination of this lady. Remember whenever that guy joined just like at the last second? And then he questioned Dawn Hughes, and his name's Jonathan Bach. He's actually married to Diddy's other lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, and they have a law firm together, and it's this one. He comes on Diddy's case, and the next day he does the cross-examination of Dawn Hughes. Now that same law firm is seemingly now here trying to get rid of Dawn Hughes's testimony. Now, this is an 8-page document. Now, these documents, they are public. They're publicly available and all of that, but you do have to pay for them. So when I go in and out of them like that, it makes you have to pay for them again. So let me just save it into my files. This was actually filed 4 days ago in the Southern District. This was actually filed 4 days ago. Document number 351. 524. Document 351, and it's a motion to strike all testimony from Dawn Hughes. Okay, so let me pull that up, actually. Well, I'll just have it saved there. Let's just look at it here as a brief thing. We write on behalf of Diddy and further support to strike. So they made a motion to strike during a sidebar following the testimony of the government's blind expert witness, Dr. Don Hughes. Hughes and the government continually violated the court's ruling limiting the scope of Hughes's testimony. So remember, the judge had already put some limitations on her of like what she could talk about and stuff. The court sustained numerous objections, but the repeated and apparently deliberate defiance of the court's ruling made it impossible to keep Hughes within bounds. She continuously expanded her answers beyond the four corners of the prosecutor's questions. Moreover, portions of her testimony on coping strayed from the disclosure in other ways and reconfirmed why the court has excluded this type of testimony in the first place. And her testimony based on just her memory should be independently struck as junk science that will confuse rather than help the jury. This testimony amounted to an assertion that victims are all unique with no memory lapse and no memory lapse can sorry, I got a message, lost my train of thought. Hughes' testimony based on her memory should be independently struck, and her testimony amounted to an assertion that victims are all unique and no memory lapse can readily be attributed to credibility problems. This is not proper expert testimony. This will not help the jury discover the truth. This is rather a Rorschach ink blot calculated to support any argument the prosecution might need to make in summation, depending on how factual its witnesses testify. Okay, so that's one thing. They're trying to get the doctors, everything she said on the stand at all, period, just taken out. Now, your next question might be, how could they possibly do that? Just ask the jurors to just forget it and disregard it? No, it would be very hard for the jurors to disregard somebody's testimony that lasted like the greater part of a day. What's 352? Okay, this is interesting. This one was filed 2 days ago by Diddy's lawyers. This is document number 352. We write on behalf of Diddy to provide legal authority pertinent to certain evidence issues that may arise in testimony next week. So this was last week. Oh, no, next week. This was Monday. And later in the trial, we moved to strike certain inadmissible evidence as to which prior defense objections were overruled. Which evidence? They're not even saying it. Photographs and videos. We are going to offer into evidence additional photographs and videos. The defense anticipates offering additional photos during its cross-examination of the government's witnesses and its case in chief, including some exhibits that we are disclosing during the course of the trial as soon as we identify them and decide. It's relevant for many purposes. For example, photographs of Cassie illustrating that during her relationship with Diddy, she continued to pursue her musical career as a model, musician, and actor, and this is relevant to rebut the government's argument that she wanted to participate in freak-offs. Okay, or she didn't want to. So I don't want to get too far behind on like the actual trial, but they're arguing over those same topless pictures of Cassie. The defense really wants them in. What's it like inside the courtroom during the break? 2 minutes ago, CNN.com, they said the judge is back on the bench, but the jury will soon be brought back in following a brief morning break. During the break, Diddy's legal team hovered around the table, 3 on each side, whispering. Diddy's 3 sons just arrived. One has his arm draped across his grandma's shoulder. The defense moved for a mistrial. Again, 1 minute ago, breaking news, as I predicted. The defense moves for a mistrial, alleging the prosecutorial misconduct and claims of bias against Diddy. Alexandra Shapiro says the defense moves for a mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct. Some prospective jurors said during jury selection that they believed Diddy would buy his way out of things, said his lawyer. This type of conspiracy theory is out there, and the type of implication we believe these questions were designed to create plays right into that. So she's saying Diddy's lawyer is saying this is allowing conspiracy theories that rich people buy their way out of everything to be perpetuated. It's like Alexandra Shapiro might need a brain scan if she don't think rich people can buy their way out of stuff. She might need a brain scan, and she knows they can, and she knows they do. She knows they do. There's no way she owns a law firm and is representing Diddy at this level and doesn't know people can buy their way out of things. Okay, so they're arguing about it here. Thankfully, y'all, this judge is good. He's very good. He's very fair. He lets Diddy win a lot. He makes the government lose a lot. And it's going to be hard to overturn a fair judge. It is. She said, we are going to move for a mistrial at this time based on the prosecutorial misconduct that has occurred. Some prospective jurors said Diddy would buy his way out. This type of conspiracy theory is out there, and this brought into it. And this bought into it. They should have ended when the fingerprint. Diddy's lawyer goes on to say, the government should have stopped their questioning at when were the fingerprint cards destroyed. But they asked, did he authorize it? There's no way to unring this bell. The only proper remedy here is a mistrial. The assistant U.S. attorney said that is absolutely unwarranted. Please, they are crazy. They are out of their minds. They've lost it. It was Mr. Agnifilo who wanted to ask about DNA. Your Honor can just say the jurors should not draw any inference from the destruction of the fingerprint cards. He said the motion for the mistrial is denied. Shut up. Sit down. Okay, that was the most recent there, but we do have an update from CNN. Judge denies defense's motion for a mistrial. Look how funny this is. This is how fast things happen, y'all. 4 minutes ago, headline, defense moves for mistrial, alleges prosecutorial misconduct and claims of bias against Diddy. And then it's like 1 minute ago. So like 3 minutes goes by. Judge denies defense's motion for mistrial. Okay, I guess we can still keep going back and looking at our other things. Email correspondence. Okay, let's look at the ones that were filed today. The most recent one is 370. So Diddy is still fighting with Cassie. We write to oppose. This is Diddy's lawyers. We're writing to oppose Cassie's letter requesting that the court deny Mr. Combs' application. Okay. So what has happened is Diddy has demanded some documents from Cassie. Cassie said no. Then Cassie's lawyer wrote to the court and said, Your Honor, can you put a protective order, like making Cassie not have to give this stuff over to Diddy? And this is their letter response saying, no, we need it. During cross-examination, on the final day of her testimony, Cassie admitted to having sent the Intercontinental Hotel a demand. And she received an offer of settlement of $10 million a week before her testimony. Prior to and after that defense questioning, the government elicited, perhaps misleadingly to the lay people of the jury, that Cassie had no pending lawsuits against anyone else related to her relationship with Diddy and no financial stake in the outcome of this trial. Regardless of whether that highly specific testimony was true at the time of her testimony, Cassie clearly had a financial incentive to frame the facts in a certain light throughout the government's entire investigation. The requested documents would reveal the extent of that incentive and provide a credible basis for impeaching Cassie. Okay, so they want details about her settlement with the Intercontinental Hotel, the $10 million. Okay, this is docket 353. Oh, these are all emails. Oh, this is emails from the beginning of trial. Oh, this is going to be fun to go through. Wow, this is crazy. Those are going to be fun to go through later. Okay. Your application for a mistrial is denied. That's where we left off. I sustained the objections when you raised them. The jurors have already been told that questions are not evidence. Okay. Then Diddy's lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, says, Your Honor should tell the juror that the questions were improper. The assistant U.S. attorney said the questions were not improper. Shut up. You could just say disregard both. The question and the answer. Okay. Okay. Wow, this is so cool. I like this judge. I do. I'm sorry. I really do. Alexandra Shapiro said, Will the court please tell the jurors that the answers are not to be considered? The judge said, I'll tell them that the questions and the answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to this case and not to be considered. Are they relevant to another case? Thank you, Your Honor, Diddy's lawyer says. All rise. Okay, so we're back. Okay. Look at the picture of Mark Agnifilo. The judge said, this is WashingtonPost.com and Brannigan. The judge said he would ask the jury to disregard the testimony about the destruction of fingerprint cards in the investigation into Kid Cudi's car boom boom after Diddy's attorney declared the government's line of questioning about the incident to be outrageous and prejudicial. They knew exactly what they were doing, defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said during a sidebar. But the prosecutors argued that the destruction of the fingerprints was absolutely relevant to their questioning. There was no evidence connecting people to the scene of the arson. Okay, so because those cards were destroyed, there's no evidence. But the judge did take the defense's side. 14 minutes ago, just before court resumed, Diddy, wearing a navy sweater and white collared shirt for the second day in a row, turned and motioned to his sons, Justin, Christian, Quincy, who arrived late for Wednesday morning's testimony. Okay, here comes Miss Janice for her daily fashion show moment. There she is, same sunglasses as yesterday. We got the cops out here. We got her here. I don't know who that is. That's her sister, her daughter. CNN got an update. Jury is back. The jurors enter. Okay, so the judge says to the jurors, the questions and answers on the fingerprints are irrelevant to this case and are not to be considered by you. Please proceed. Did you interview the owner of the Porsche? Yes, I did. Scott Miscuddy. Did you reach out to others? All right. So after a lengthy sidebar and recess over suspiciously destroyed fingerprint cards. Judge Subramanian has instructed jury disregard fingerprint cards entirely, but not before Diddy team tried to get mistrial. Did you reach out to others? That's the last question. Okay, we got an update from CNN. Judge instructs jury to disregard testimony about destroyed fingerprint cards. He instructed the jury that, quote, this is less than a minute ago from CNN.com, quote, the questions regarding the destruction of the fingerprint cards and the answers given are irrelevant to this case and to this defendant and are not to be considered by you. All right. One minute ago, Anne Brannigan from the Washington Post, judge denies mistrial over testimony about destroyed fingerprint evidence. Sean Combs' defense said it would move for a mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct. But the judge denied the motion. The defense took issue with an arson investigator's testimony this morning about the destruction of fingerprint evidence in the case of a firebomb attack on Kid Cudi's Porsche in 2012. Cudi, whose legal name is Scott Miscuddy, has previously testified that he believes Diddy was involved. And arson is one of the crimes prosecutors allege Diddy committed as part of a racketeering charge. The judge has already moved to strike the investigator's testimony about how fingerprint cards. Well, the judge didn't move to strike it. He just struck it. You move something to the judge. So he already struck. The investigators has stricken the investigator's testimony about how fingerprint cards from the investigation were destroyed without his knowledge, which he called unusual. He said it was unusual. Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, said the government was trying to imply that Diddy had ordered the evidence to be destroyed and that testimony was prejudicial enough to warrant a mistrial. Because even if the testimony was struck, it would prejudice the jury. There's no way to unring this bell, she tried to argue, but the judge just simply wasn't having it. Okay. Did you interview the owner of the Porsche? Yes. Kid Cudi. Did you reach out to others? Yes. I reached out to an assistant. Her name was Capricorn. I'm going to object, Agnifilo says. The judge says, rephrase your question. Who did you reach out to? Capricorn and Cassie Ventura. Did Capricorn respond or assist you in any way? The fire arson guy says no. And that lines up with Capricorn's testimony. She said yesterday that when she got a call from this guy, she hung up in his face. How did you reach out to Cassie? He said, I wasn't able to by phone. I tried through a family member. Did you ever reach Cassie? Never. Were charges ever brought? No. But I never closed the case. It's just listed as inactive. Nothing further. So it's still an open case, but inactive. Now it's going to be Brian Steele or Agnifilo, I guess, is the ones doing it. Brian Steele or Agnifilo? I guess it could be Shapiro. I'm just refreshing through all the other sources. Now I'm on New York Post. Now I'm on The Independent. Independent did write a little bit about the mistrial thing. So let me read that. Defense moves for mistrial. Judge denies. Diddy's team requested a mistrial, arguing prosecutorial misconduct. The judge said the testimony about destroyed fingerprints needed to be struck from the record, but defense attorney Alexandra Shapiro said the jury is still going to have that information in their mind already, and it's going to ruin the case. She added some of the jurors already said they believed Diddy could buy his way out of things, but they didn't strike those people. Okay. This type of conspiracy theory is out there, and the type of implication we believe these questions were designed to create plays right into that. The judge denied the request. We have 2 new updates from NBC News. Fingerprint evidence was destroyed. Witness testifies. This is Adam Rice, Ying Feng, and David K. Lee. The trial came to a dramatic pause when the firefighter guy revealed that some of the fingerprints lifted during the trespassing probe were destroyed. The defense argued that all testimony about lost fingerprints should be stricken from the record because the inference could be that Diddy had something to do with it. What the government what the government has done is outrageous, said Mark Agnifilo. The judge did strike. Defense moves for a mistrial but gets swiftly denied by judge. Diddy's legal team moved for a mistrial, accusing the prosecution of misconduct over the implication that Diddy may have destroyed fingerprint evidence. The judge ruled that the testimony from the arson investigator would be struck, but one of Diddy's lawyers, Alexandra Shapiro, said that the jury was still going to know. They're still going to have heard it regardless. Then the prosecutor was like, what? These are good faith questions regarding the investigation into the firebombing of Kid Cudi's car. The judge denied the motion for the mistrial, saying there was no objections on the line of questioning up until that point and no testimony that was prejudicial in any way, shape, or form. He added that it was plausible to raise the fingerprint cards during their direct questioning of the witnesses because the defense was likely going to bring up the fact that the evidence in the investigation was destroyed. True. CNN has an update. Prosecution is done with direct, and Mark Agnifilo is starting cross-examination. Now, he does seem to confirm Capricorn Clark's prior statements that she did not assist or participate in any way with the fire investigation. I'm going to get my hot beverage. Hold on one second. I'll be back in I just got to go get it. Hold on. Okay. Okay. I guess they're swearing him in and stuff. We can get back to this. Okay, so this was docket 354 was the letter from the government trying to keep out the DNA evidence, which they lost. Okay, this one right here, this was yesterday filed. Witness testimony, Richard Morgan James. What is this? Let's look it up. Oh, Richard Morgan. Oh, Richard, Morgan, and James. Okay, so we have a testimony issue. Okay. The government respectfully, so this is the feds presenting this. The government respectfully submits this letter to apprise the court of certain issues with respect to witnesses that we expect to be called tomorrow, for which parties have not been. Oh, this is from the 2018. See, these are also late and outdated. If permitted, the government anticipates Carrie Morgan will testify about the following. So this is all this, but I'm glad they finally put it on. But I mean, this is what I've been this is a May 8th letter. This is a May 21st letter. It's about the summary charts, evidentiary issues. This is from May 12th, the first day of trial. They're just putting stuff yesterday on the docket from the first day of trial. It's so stupid. A curative instruction. This looks interesting. This is from yesterday. Okay, so there's an issue going on with Kid Cudi's testimony too. And it has to do with his opinion that Diddy was lying about being involved in the car boom boom. This is what Diddy's lawyer wants there to be said. You heard testimony from witness Scott Miscuddy about a meeting with Mr. Combs at the Soho house, during which Mr. Miscuddy said he asked about his car. He further shared his opinion of whether Diddy was being truthful during that conversation. That testimony regarding Miscuddy's opinion has been stricken from the record. Accordingly, you are to discard and put out of your mind completely Mr. Miscuddy's testimony regarding his opinion that Diddy lied. That's interesting. So Alexander Shapiro wants that to be listed and wants that to be read out aloud to the jury. Okay, Miscuddy, opposition, motion, Robert Ballin. Oh, what is this? Hold on. A news organization. Oh, this is from May 13th. Okay, yeah, no, the judge already decided on that. They wanted to freak off tapes. Okay, or they wanted to see him in court. So Diddy's lawyer did argue that he wanted to strike Don Hughes' entire testimony. May 21st, that was a week ago. May 27th, May 19th. Judge from that summary charge evidence. Clark, Capricorn Clark. Okay, so this is interesting. 368. Let's check that out. Oh, this was from Don Richard. Nope, this is still old. Let's see, what's this? Oh, this is actually dated up today. Okay, so letter from Douglas Wigdor. Pursuant to the court's order, please find the attached. Oh, it was May 19th. Okay. No. Okay, so all this stuff is just like, a lot of this stuff is just redoing. It's just finally docketing stuff from like May freaking 12th, 19th, 18th. Okay. All right. The last question I think was this one right here. How did you reach out to Cassie? I wasn't able to. I tried through a family member, but I was never able to get in touch with her. But I also never closed the case. The case is listed as inactive, but it's not closed, open case. All right, so then Agnifilo comes up and his first question is, there was a DNA hit on the glass bottle. Female DNA, correct? Yeah. Do you remember when the results came back? He said, like, I guess maybe 6 months. And this test on the bottle, was it important? He said, yeah, it was important. It's the DNA on the bottle. So what does it mean, partial DNA female? He said, I have no idea. I was told if we had a suspect, we could test the DNA against it. Any other DNA on the bottle? Objection, Your Honor. The judge says, yeah, rephrase. What are you talking about? Okay, so now I'm showing you, this is Agnifilo. Now I'm going to show you, Mr. Jimenez, Defense Exhibit 852. Just take a look at that. Take as long as you need. Just look at that. CNN.com 1 minute ago, arson investigator disputes claim that contact with Clark was linked to female DNA on the bottle. Ooh. On cross-exit, because they're trying to pin this on Capricorn Clark. And I wouldn't be surprised. I told you all this yesterday. I won't be surprised if it's Cassie's DNA or Capricorn Clark's, because there's also a reason Diddy picked her up before he went over there, okay, in the break-in incident. There's a reason why he's been alleged to have women hold his pew-pews, etc., etc. On cross-examination, defense attorney, this Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, suggested that arson investigator Lance Jimenez contacted Capricorn Clark in March 2012 after receiving test results that revealed partial female DNA recovered from a glass bottle. Jimenez disagreed, saying he doesn't believe the timing was related. He's like, no, I don't think that has anything to do with Capricorn Clark. No. We have another update. Two minutes ago, NBC News, Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and David K. Lee. Investigator testifies he couldn't reach Cassie or Capricorn Clark. He testified he wanted to interview possible witnesses who were connected to Diddy, but was greeted by silence. He especially wanted to interview Diddy's girlfriend at the time, Cassie, and assistant Capricorn Clark, but they never returned his phone calls or answered the front door when the investigator knocked in person. His testimony could go to the government's obstruction of justice allegations. Okay, there you go. Does that look a little bit like something that's not just domestic violence to anybody else but me? Just wondering. Just wondering. All right. Y'all, we are full O.J. Simpson trial. We are talking about gloves now. Full O.J. Simpson. Yep, someone else already had the thought. Ting. Yep, exactly. So then Agnifilo says, that's a glove, isn't it? Yeah. Didn't you find another glove? No. Did you test the glove for DNA? No. I understood the glove belonged to the owner. It was a driving glove. So who is this glove for? We're full O.J. Simpson moment. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. We have a new update from Washington Post and Brannigan. The debate over the destroyed fingerprint cards raged on a bit longer over how the judge would instruct the jury to disregard the testimony they had heard minutes earlier. Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, asked the judge to tell jurors that questions the government asked before the break were improper. The government objected to any language that would impugn its prosecutors in front of the jury. Subramanian said he will instruct the jury to disregard the testimony about the destruction of cards because it is irrelevant, but he will not call the questions improper because there is conceivable reasons why they would have asked that. Updating here, the Independent. Arson investigator, 2 minutes ago, the independent.com. Arson investigator testifies about female DNA found at car bombing scene. Arson investigator Lance Jimenez said female DNA was found on the glass bottle used to boom Kid Cudi's car. Mark Agnifilo suggested that Jimenez contacted Capricorn Clark in March after recovering the DNA. But he testified he doesn't believe the two events were related. Your premise, okay, so Diddy's attorney, your premise was that the boom was dropped. Did you think the person who dropped it would have worn a glove? He said, I don't know, maybe. Agnifilo said, well, it would have been hot. He said, no, just the wick, just the part that was literally on fire. You just light it and drop it like, it's a firecracker or whatever. Like, it doesn't get hot yet. He said only the wick would have been hot. You didn't have to wear a glove. So maybe the person had a glove on. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. Jury is shown photos of a black glove in Kid Cudi's Porsche. The jury saw photos of a black glove in the back seat of the Porsche. The arson investigator said he didn't recall finding a second glove inside the car. He said he didn't send the glove for DNA testing or collect it as evidence because Kid Cudi said it was his. It was a driving glove. Thanks so much to Dawn for the $1.99 super chat. Thanks to JS for the $9.99. Thanks for showing up when you feel like crap. Aw. Thank you so much. Shout out to you. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. I know, seriously. The gear shift will melt your hand off in Arizona. It is hot. It was Kid Cudi's glove. Well, I mean, they get mistrials. They do get mistrials. Bought into it or prove they may be right? That's a really good question, Cynthia, because this is kind of going on with the Emmanuel Macron slap in the face gate 2025, where at first they came out and said like it was Russia misinformation, it was AI videos, but then once like so many different news cameras caught it, it was like, no, you gotta say the truth now. And now what they're saying is that this just plays into the conspiracy theorists, and it's like, or does it give them evidence that maybe something is amiss? Robin Hood, I have no idea where the glove is now. The jury was though shown pictures of the glove, however, and I'm assuming that means we're going to see pictures of it. Let me see if the new car pictures have come out. Kid Cudi car damage, more photos released. No, they're all just from 6 days ago. Okay. Let's go to People magazine. They don't update it often. They just update it every so many. Oh, they're not actually even saying anything. Okay, go away. All right, let's go to NBC. We already read that. What about the Independent? No. Okay, let's go to CNN. Okay, they must just be like looking at the pictures right now. It's Kid Cudi's driving glove. It was not taken as evidence. Why is the glove relevant? Angela, good question. The glove is relevant because Diddy's team is trying to attack the actual investigation. Diddy's argument, remember, is that, underlying all of this is he's being unfairly attacked. He's being unfairly targeted as a black man who just got too big for his britches or whatever. I do think he is on somebody's green light list, and it may be because of those reasons. However, the things in evidence are still the things in evidence nevertheless. So Diddy's lawyers are trying to say that the investigation was botched, which is why the government is now trying to say, yeah, it was botched. Where's the freaking fingerprints? How are they going to look into something without fingerprints? They got destroyed. So interesting to say the least. A black glove, this is NBC News 1 minute ago. A black glove found inside of Kid Cudi's car, investigator says. This is Adam Rice, Ying Fong, and Doha Madani. A single black driving glove was found in the back seat of Kid Cudi's car. The investigator told the court upon cross-examination. He testified that the glove belonged to Kid Cudi and that it was not sent out for testing as part of the investigation. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo asked if the person who dropped the Molotov boom boom in the Porsche was potentially wearing a glove. Jimenez said it was possible. It could have been. I don't know. Still no new tweets from Inner City Press. Let's go to CNN. Already saw that one. Let's go to Washington Post. What's going on there? "44 minutes ago. "9 minutes ago. What's this? It's from May 8th. That was jury stuff. Okay, so it kind of gets stale. It's hard to keep up with. That's probably why they need to just file them all now. That freaking Punisher is such a plant, in my opinion. The last question we had was this, like, wouldn't it have been hot? And the guy was like, no, only the wick. Nothing's really coming down the pipe yet. I guess they're looking at new evidence. Jedi mind tricks that I bet someone asked Cassie to hold the bottle. Is possible female DNA could come from the scarf they used. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how it works. I don't know if it could rub off. I don't know. Like, nobody's updating anything. I don't know if it's just, like, taking them a long time to look at that picture. Most recent Inner City Press tweet was 10 minutes ago. Most recent CNN thing was 8 minutes ago. Most recent Washington Post was 17 minutes ago. Oh, we got another one. Okay. Just now, Washington Post. Anne Brannigan. Arson investigator Lance Jimenez said the case of the 2012 fire boom of Kid Cudi's car remains open, but attempts to reach out to people of interest went nowhere. He said that Kid Cudi gave him several names of people to talk to after the fire. He testified that he reached out to Capricorn Clark, an associate of Diddy, about a half dozen times, but she never responded. He said he also reached out unsuccessfully to Cassie, including through a family member, probably her mom. In his view, the fire was deliberately set and was targeted. Mark Agnifilo is now cross-examining the witness. Okay, let's see if anyone else is live today about the in-court updates live. We're going to try to look for New York Times. I tried to look for okay. All right. Let's bring this back up. All right, we got another tweet. The damage. It's on both sides. Right? Okay, so Agnifilo says the damage is on both sides of the bottle, right? He said, looks like it. Did Kid Cudi have more than one Porsche? He said, yeah, I think he had a second Porsche in the garage. Why isn't the second Porsche in the garage in your report? He said, because it wasn't involved. Mark Agnifilo is just pulling anything out of anywhere. Why didn't you say there was another Porsche? I don't know. I also didn't include the price of gas at the current time. Like, what do you want me to talk about everything in the world in this one report? It wasn't relevant. We have a supposed update from New York Post. Okay. 2 minutes ago, Ben Kochman, Kyle Schnitzer, Priscilla DeGregory, judge denied Diddy's long shot motion for mistrial over jury hearing about destroyed fingerprints tied to Kid Cudi home break-in. The judge denied a long shot bid by lawyers for a mistrial after jurors heard about missing fingerprint evidence connected to Kid Cudi's home break-in. Diddy's lawyer, Alexander Shapiro, called for a mistrial in the middle of testimony by Fire Inspector Lance Jimenez after he told jurors 2 fingerprints taken off the door at Kid Cudi's home after the Bad Boy Records founder, that's Diddy, allegedly broke in, were destroyed by the LAPD just months later in August. After the jury was sent out of the courtroom, Diddy's lawyers and prosecutors said prosecutors were unfairly trying to plant the idea with these jurors that Diddy had something to do with the destruction of these fingerprints. But Diddy's lawyer responded by saying her questions of Jimenez were asked in good faith. The judge denied the motion and decided to simply tell the jury that part of the testimony should be disregarded. Oh, man. Okay, let's see. I'm refreshing Washington Post. Okay, refreshing. We already saw that. Let's go to the Independent. 16 minutes ago. Let's go to, what is this, NBC? We already read about that. It's the black glove. Let's just go all. Just looking at some updates. Let's go Diddy trial. Oh no, exclusive. This one right here. Alleged victim Mia to take the stand today in trial. One of his former employees will testify that he forced himself on her sexually. The testimony is set to continue Wednesday, today, in the federal racketeering conspiracy. Can you go away? Thank you. In the federal racketeering, this is theguardian.com, Anna Betts. The testimony is expected to continue today, with prosecutors planning to call several witnesses to the stand, including an alleged victim identified by the pseudonym Mia. Mia has been described as one of Diddy's former employees who prosecutors say will testify that Diddy forced himself on her sexually while she was working for him. Other witnesses that the prosecutors said they intend to call up on Wednesday include an LAPD. We already got that. Diddy, 55 years old, faces these charges. He was arrested in September. Yesterday, one of his former employees, Capricorn Clark, gave a full day of testimony, telling jurors that in 2011, Diddy kidnapped her, forced her to accompany him to the home of rapper Kid Cudi after Diddy discovered that Kid Cudi had been dating Cassie. She said that he was going over there to unalive Kid Cudi. Clark also testified that she witnessed Diddy violently assault Cassie upon learning of the relationship. During her time working for Diddy, she said that Diddy repeatedly threatened her life, subjected her to lie detector tests, and once pushed her in 2006 in his Miami home. Since the trial began on May 12th, more than 15 witnesses have testified, including Cassie, Kid Cudi, Dawn Richard, 2 of Diddy's former assistants, Cassie's former best friend, Carrie Morgan, her mom, Regina Ventura, an exotic dancer, a male review manager, a hotel security officer, a special agent from Homeland Security Investigations, a forensic psychologist, a makeup artist, the general manager of the Beverly Hills Hotel, or a Beverly Hills hotel, and a computer forensics agent. The trial is expected to continue for about 6 more weeks. Okay. We have another new tweet from Inner City Press. You were unable to reach Capricorn Clark or Cassie. When did you reach out? He said, I think it was like the first few weeks. Agnifila goes, are you sure? Tell us everything about these calls. He said, I believe Capricorn's brother answered the phone and we disagreed. So when he called Capricorn Clark, her brother might have answered the phone. I'm refreshing Washington Post. We already saw that. Let's refresh New York Post. We already saw that. Let's refresh Independent. No, 20 minutes. Let's refresh NBC News. Nope. Okay, let's go back to our news cycle. Well, can I filter it like most recent or something? Let's go news. Diddy's still making millions. Lisa Bonner is saying that it's highly unlikely Diddy will testify. I don't know if he's going to testify or not. I kind of feel like he might. I kind of feel like he might try to testify. Aubrey O'Day will not. Diddy on trial. The rap. Interesting. These are 5 days old. I want like new. Oh, here's one from Sean Diddy Combs loses mistrial bid. Look at her. Loses mistrial bid. Alert the media. Okay. All right, we got another new tweet. And once Mr. Muscuddy told you it was his glove, you didn't investigate the glove anymore, correct? He said, no. Why would I investigate the glove if it's his glove? Nothing further, Your Honor. The judge said, okay, let's do a redirect. Here comes the prosecutor. They're going to ask some more questions of this guy. When did you speak with Mr. Muscuddy? The fire arson investigator said the same day of the incident. The assistant U.S. attorney said, nothing further. Okay, they're done. I bet you the judge is going to send him on lunch. Oh, nope. They called up Cassie's friend. Okay, so the arson investigator, less than 1 minute ago, CNN.com. The arson investigator testified that Capricorn Clark's brother told him to stop calling. Ooh, this is some more details. LA fire arson investigator Lance Jimenez testified that after calling Capricorn Clark several times, her brother answered her phone and told the investigator to leave her alone. The investigator said he actually got into an argument with Capricorn Clark's brother, who said she wanted nothing to do with the investigation at all. Jimenez also said he made contact with Cassie's father, who was a fireman. Cassie's dad is a fireman? Her dad said he would let her know that someone reached out. Then he moved to be off the stand. Now, less than a minute ago, CNN.com reporting Cassie's friend called to the stand. This is Deonte Nash, a friend of Cassie. Prosecutor Maureen Comey will lead the direct examination. She's going to be asking the questions. Wow. Okay, here we go. I thought he would break for lunch right now. I'm surprised. Next witness. The government calls Deonte Nash. Are you here because you got subpoenaed? Yes. Do you want to be here? Absolutely not. What is your work? Celebrity stylist, he says. And what about in 2008? He said, I was working for Puff and Cassie. Somebody said, do you want to be here? He said, absolutely not. This is like the third, fourth person that said this, or they didn't want to be here. One guy even pled the fifth. I'm going to look up Deonte Nash so y'all can see what he looks like. Interesting. Here. I think that's him right there. I guess he's maybe styled the dress. He's styling everybody. Oh, wait, no, is that not? No, that's not. Interesting. Okay, so that's who's on the stand now. He don't want to be here. How did you get hired for work for them as a stylist? He said a Craigslist ad. What? What? That is crazy. Stop. How did you get hired to work as a stylist for Cassie and Puff? Through a Craigslist ad for Bad Boy Entertainment. This photo. Is this a fair and accurate portrayal of how you looked at the time? Deonte Nash said no, not even close. The assistant U.S. attorney said, oh, it's a glamour photo? He said, yeah, I look really good. I look amazing. He said, no, not even close. That is a done up photo. Y'all, he got hired off of Craigslist to work for Bad Boy. That's crazy. Okay, we got another update from CNN.com. Cassie Ventura's friend called to the stand. Prosecutors are calling Deonte Nash to the stand. Maureen Comey will question Nash on direct examination. He is a celebrity stylist. He said he's testifying under a subpoena. When asked if he wanted to be here, he said, absolutely not. He says he worked for Diddy for about 10 years. He started working with them in 2008. He said he was an intern in the fashion department at Bad Boy Entertainment before becoming a stylist. He stopped working for Diddy around 2018. I mean, everything happened in 2018. Like everything hit the fan the year Kim Porter died. And the year Cassie and Diddy broke up, and the year Cassie and Alex Fine got together, and the year they, I think, got pregnant, and the year Britney Spears wasn't going to do no more residencies. And then the next year she said that she was the closest thing in the state of California she could think of is called sex trafficking. And that was in the same neighborhood as where Diddy's California house was. I mean, the web keeps webbing. Okay. How often would you witness Diddy and Cassie interact? He said at least once a week I saw him interact. I worked for them for 10 years. What did Mr. Combs call Cassie? B-word, hoe, CC, baby girl, SLUT. He wouldn't call it an outright hoe. He would call it an outright HO or SLUT. How did Cassie react to this? Sad. Let me retweet this one. Cassie's, I'm going to just say former stylist. Former stylist for Diddy and Cassie testifies that Diddy would call Cassie horrible names. She would be sad. Did Diddy ever make threats? Yes, that he would beat her beep beep, that he would send her sex tapes out. How often would he say he was going to beat her? Beep. Quite a few. It drove her crazy. She would be super emotional. She might stay in the house for days if he said that. Wow. These witnesses are just coming in. They don't stop coming, huh? Breaking. Diddy trial. Former assistant. No, not assistant. Stylist. / Cassie friend. Deonte Nash. Says Diddy would call Cassie names and threaten to release S tapes. Okay. We have 2 updates on NBC. Capricorn Clark's brother, says she didn't want to help the fire department probe. Okay. The investigators' failed effort to interview Capricorn Clark even led to a verbal confrontation with Capricorn Clark's brother, the investigator said. The fire department investigator earlier testified he couldn't reach Capricorn Clark or Cassie Ventura. But the investigator went a step further by saying that Capricorn Clark's brother forcefully told him over the phone she didn't want to help the investigation. 3 minutes ago, Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and Doha Madani from NBC News reporting Deonte Nash, a stylist who worked with both Diddy and Cassie, was called to the witness stand. Cassie testified earlier in the trial that Nash was a friend and that he was present when Diddy allegedly attacked her, causing her to cut her eyebrow when she hit the corner of the bed. She told the court that Nash jumped on Diddy's back in her defense because Diddy was trying to attack her. Arson investigator Lance has finished testifying. Okay, so I'm just making sure we're all up to date on all our other sources. What's this? Okay, let's get rid of that. All right, let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. So just to remind you, the most recent tweet we read 3 minutes ago, did Diddy ever make threats? Yes, he would threaten Cassie to beat her A-word. He also would threaten to send out her sex tapes. How often would he say he was going to beat her? Quite a few. It drove her crazy. She would be super emotional and she might stay in the house for days. Next question from Maureen Comey. This is the prosecutor. How often did Diddy say you could not go out without his permission? Deonte Nash said twice. The first time we went to a gay club with Kyle and Adrian. I don't know who these people are. Then we went to Cassie's LA apartment. Puff called and told her she better bring her ass to his house, and she panicked. Let's go to CNN. Celebrity stylist, 4 minutes ago, CNN.com. Celebrity stylist jokes about his headshot in court. Assistant U.S. Attorney showed Deonte Nash, a celebrity stylist and friend of Cassie, a headshot of himself taken during the time he worked for Diddy. He laughed and said no when the prosecutor asked if that's how he looked at the time. He confirmed it was a glamorous shot and said, yes, I look amazing. And people in the court started to laugh. We got an update. Yeah, okay. So we got another update of the same sort from New York Post 4 minutes ago. Ben Kochman, Kyle Schnitzer, and Priscilla DeGregory. Celebrity stylist Deonte Nash prompts courtroom laughter after commenting, "I look amazing." Celebrity stylist has just taken the witness stand and testified he styled Diddy and Cassie. Prosecutors showed the jury a photo of Nash in sunglasses and asked if it was a glamour shot. He said, "Yeah, I look amazing," prompting jurors and others to erupt in laughter. The jury thought he was funny. That is not a good sign because he is going to make Diddy look bad, I think. Not a good sign for Diddy. Good sign if you're the prosecution. You're going to be very happy. You're going to want to keep him up there. Yes, slay. More laughing. More jokes. Okay, we got an objection from Xavier Donaldson, coming as not a surprise to me. Okay, so remember the last part of the tweet we read? Nash said he twice heard Diddy say Cassie couldn't go somewhere without permission or whatever. First time Cassie and Nash were at a gay club with Kyle and Adrian. They went to Cassie's apartment. Diddy called and told her she better bring her ass to his house, and then Cassie panicked. "What did you understand Mr. Combs was saying?" "Objection, Your Honor." Overruled. Just pipe down, Xavier. Nash then answered the question, which was, "What did you understand Mr. Combs was saying to Cassie whenever he said, 'Get your beat back to my house'?" She packed her stuff and went to her house, he said. "Did you attend a Vanity Fair party?" He said, "Yes, Oscars after party, 2014 with Cassie. Puff was there." Okay, so I'm going to go to Getty Images and look up the Vanity Fair 2014 Vanity Fair Oscars after party Diddy. Vanity Fair Diddy. Puff. Okay, what about just Vanity Fair? What were they doing? Hold on. Oscars. Don't do Diddy Oscars. 2014 Oscars. Oh my God, y'all. It's this Oscars with the selfie. This is the Oscars. And Diddy's not in it though. Remember the selfie? They were like, "Oh, let's do a selfie." This is the Oscars that night, 2014. 11 years ago. I guess these two were still together. Where's Diddy? I want to see him. What day was it on? Let's do 2014 Oscars. March 2nd. Okay, then we'll do the March custom date. Okay, I think we got it. I think this is it. So what did he say? "Did you attend a Vanity Fair party?" "Yes, Oscars after party with Cassie and Puff. 2014 with Cassie and Puff." Okay, so here's this. What is this? Rick Ross is there? Oh, this is Mastermind album release. In Georgia. Nope, this ain't it. This is the same day as the Oscars. Okay, well, this isn't really adding up. All right, anyway. Let's see if we have more tweets. We do. Okay, and at that party, how did she look? She looked bomb. Her hair was objection, Your Honor. Overruled. What do you the guy can't say what she looked like that night? Chill out. Her hair was long, Deonte Nash said. "Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs picked me up and threatened me." So then I pinned her hair up. I guess the question is, how often did she record music? He said often. So let me go back to the images of the Oscars. What was your role for the music recording? He said, I helped to pick songs. I probably should have been called an exec. Objection, Your Honor. Of sustained. Sustained. You don't say what you should have been, could have been, would have been. Just say what you were. Next question. Her mixtape, was it ever sold? No, it was put out for free. But it did well, a top download. So they never sold it. He chose not to make money off of it. He just put it out for free. Okay, let's back over here. Let me see. Cassie. Oh, I guess I need to put Ventura. Wow. What the hell? No Cassie Ventura anywhere? Okay, let me look it up just like on the regular internet. Cassie, Diddy, After Party, Vanity Fair 2014. Okay, look. Here's the Vanity Fair. Here's a part. Here's a this. Us Weekly. Vanity Fair Oscar Party 2014. What the Stars Wore. Where's the pictures? Girl, they done took all the pictures off. All right, fine. I'm going to go put it in the Wayback Machine. Oh, we got an update from CNN. Okay, 2 updates. No, just 1. Okay. Here we go. Stylist says rapper. Okay, so Nash said that Diddy threatened Cassie on multiple occasions. He's describing some of the times. Multiple occasions he heard Diddy tell Cassie he would beat her, beep, and then Cassie would be super emotional after these incidents. She would cry. Sometimes she would just stay in the house for days and go into a cocoon. This reminds me of the cocoon she was in when he was like, you ain't saying all that now, or whatever. Like whenever she was like, he went live recording her. Nash said he heard Diddy making threats towards Cassie, including telling her he would not release her music and threatening to get her parents fired from their jobs. Threatening to get her parents fired from their jobs. Diddy also threatened to send sexually explicit videos of Cassie. Nash said Diddy would threaten to release Cassie's music anytime she did something he didn't like. So he was just threatening all kinds of stuff. Personal stuff like S tapes, but also music, which brings in the RICO because it's using his enterprise. Okay. So we got 3 new updates from Washington Post. Some of them are shorter, but let's just read through them. Anne Brannigan writes 10 minutes ago, this is Washington Post, a black glove found splayed on the driver's side seat of Kid Cudi's Fire Boom Porsche was a focus for Mark Agnifilo as he cross-examined Lance Jimenez, an LA firefighter who led the investigation of the 2012 case. When asked why he never submitted the glove for forensic testing, Jimenez said the glove belonged to Kid Cudi, whose legal name is Scott Muscudi. Agnifilo asked if perhaps the person who lit the boom boom would use a glove, supposing that the bottle might get hot. But the fire arson investigator corrected him and said the lit cloth would be hot for the person holding it, but the bottle wouldn't be. 7 minutes ago, the government has called celebrity stylist Deonte Nash to the stand. When asked by a prosecutor if he wanted to testify, he responded, absolutely not. 3 minutes ago, Deonte Nash said he was very close. This is Anne Brannigan, Washington Post. He was very close to Cassie when he worked as her stylist between 2009 and 2018. He said he saw her interact with Diddy at least once a week. He said Diddy would call Cassie by various names, including baby girl, CC, Cass, B word, SLUT, and Ho. He said he remembered Diddy calling her a beep quite a bit. That was his fave. One new update from NBC News. Diddy would tell Cassie he wouldn't put out her mixtape when he was upset with her. This is 3 minutes ago. Adam Rice, Ying Fang, and Doha Madani. Diddy allegedly threatened not to release Cassie's music when he was upset with her. The celebrity stylist testified that he spent time with the couple and that quite a few times Diddy would tell Cassie he wouldn't release her music anytime. He wouldn't release her music. Anytime he said something, anytime Cassie said something Diddy didn't like, he would say, well, I ain't going to put your tape out. I'm not going to release your music. Cassie was under contract with Diddy's record label in a 10-album deal, but only released one full studio album in 2006. Nash also testified that he heard Diddy threaten Cassie's parents sometime in 2012 or 2013 while he was sitting next to her in a car. Wow. 2 new updates from CNN. Cassie's outfit photos had to be approved by Diddy. 1 minute ago, CNN.com, Deonte Nash, a celebrity stylist and friend of Cassie, said he had to send all photos of Cassie's outfits to Diddy for approval. He would pick which one he liked, and that's usually the one we went with. He detailed a 2014 incident where he says Diddy demanded Cassie change her hairstyle. The stylist said he attended a party in 2014. She looked bomb. Her hair was down, he testified. When they arrived, Nash said Diddy grabbed him by the jacket and lifted him up. And Diddy, so Nash testified, Deonte Nash is testifying now that Diddy told him Cassie's hair needed to be up. Then Nash asked people for hairpins and told Cassie to go to the bathroom with other staff to fix her hair. Nash said Diddy admitted to him later that night that Cassie's hair actually did look better down. So he caused all that scene and all of that, only to later admit to the stylist, oh yeah, actually her hair is better down. So he testified that Diddy told Cassie that her mixtape, Rockabye Baby, could go on streaming platforms if the free download release went well. He said that the mixtape was the top mixtape in 2013, but the music was never sold online. The jury was dismissed for lunch at 1:15. Nash will continue testifying after the break, so they'll probably let him come back at 2, so they're going to come back in about 30 minutes. But this is important for the RICO. Because remember whenever Capricorn Clark testified, Cassie got special treatment that other artists didn't get. And that's all fine and good because it actually helps to prove the RICO. Because Diddy, giveth and taketh away. So here we're getting from this best friend stylist figure, like this close friend stylist, that Cassie actually, yeah, sure, maybe she got some type of special treatment, but when she did something Diddy did not like, that would be taken straight away from her. He said Diddy even gave her false promises. So what do we need? Force, fraud, coercion. That's why that is coming in. Fraud. Remember earlier I was like, okay, force and coercion, that's one thing, but fraud is another one. What is fraud? It could be like a false inducement. It could be intentionally misleading somebody. Oh, if your free downloads goes well, then I'll put it out for money. The free downloads did go well. It was the #1 mixtape in 2013, but still never sold it online. So is that one of those things the government is doing to try and prove fraud? Angry Diddy forced Cassie. I love when they say angry Diddy. Angry Diddy forced Cassie to come home after she went to a gay club with singer Rita Ora. See, New York Post always been mentioning these names. So now we're talking about Rita Ora. Diddy once forced Cassie to come home because he was angry she went to a gay club with Rita Ora and others. Celebrity stylist Deonte Nash recounted the time he and his close friend Cassie went to a gay club in LA around 2013 with the British songstress and Cheetah Girl singer Adrienne Bailon. Isn't that Rob Kardashian's longtime ex? She was probably dating a Kardashian at the time, right? Adrian Balon Houghton. That's weird because isn't Houghton Kris Jenner's maiden name? This is weird. Ventura got a call from, and Cassie got a call from Diddy while they were out, and Nash heard on Diddy on speakerphone tell her she better bring her beep to his house. Cassie started to panic. She just packed her stuff and went to his house. The stylist who worked for Diddy from 2008 to 2018 said it was one of the 2 times that he heard Diddy. No, one of the 2 times Diddy told Nash and Cassie they needed permission before going out. 3 minutes ago, celebrity stylist testimony was just put on hold for a lunch break. He'll be back on the stand when the trial resumes around 1:15. Okay, so 1:15 is when they have to come back. The government's lead prosecutor asked yesterday if the court could extend the regular lunch break from 30 minutes to an hour. So they're going to be doing hour-long lunch breaks now. Let's go to Inner City Press. Okay. So just to remind you, the most recent tweet we read was this one right here. What was your role? I helped pick songs. I probably should have been called an exec. Beep. Objection sustained. Her mixtape, was it ever sold? No, he put it out for free, but it did do well. It was a top download. How much of her music was ever released? Nash, the stylist, said, I mean, I'm being really generous here. Maybe 10% of Cassie's music was ever released. The assistant U.S. attorney said this would be a good place to take a break. The judge said, all right, jurors, you may take your break. So the jurors leave, and then they send the witness out. Miss Comey, what he's going to say about 2013, it's not about tapes, right? Cassie said, the judge asked to the prosecutors, you're not going to ask about tapes, right? In 2013? Prosecutor says, no, Your Honor, I'm not. Judge said, okay, everybody go on your break. All righty then, let's get here. Thanks so much to Jerry for your $4.99 super chat. So if I'm the suspect or accomplice in arson, I can just ignore the investigator and they'll leave me alone. You could try. Sometimes they show up to your house, but this Jerry is Diddy's argument. His lawyer's argument is like, why didn't they investigate? Couldn't it have been Capricorn? They didn't even look. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much to Ashi Fish for the £2 super chat. Love to Cassie being in early labor now. Yes, sending love to her. Thank you for the £2. Adrian is married to Israel Houghton, is a musician. Thank you, Princess Joyce, for that information and for the $1.99 super chat. Jay, you are more than welcome to go and read these yourself. If you don't like how I'm clicking over here, because I most certainly don't work for you, don't even bother trying to say anything back with your band. Anyway, so Dawn Richard, credibility in question after Q from day 26 interview with Aubrey O'Day. He's talking. Well, the thing about credibility coming into question has to be the person has to say it in court under penalty of perjury, or else it's just hearsay. Thanks so much for that. $4.99 super chat. And I do need a humidifier. I definitely do. All right, y'all. I'm gonna head out. I am gonna be back at 1:15 sharp, maybe even a little bit earlier for the part 2 of the day. I'm gonna go rest my voice and everything, get a little lunch, get a little snack. I'll be back in about 40 minutes exactly. That is all I really have for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, neither are opinions, neither is reading tweets for tips, nor is speculation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.